I'm going to intro you, and then we'll just keep going with this conversation because this is good.
Okay, no worries.
So, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. Welcome to another episode of the Unfinished Cubby podcast. With me today is the man who's responsible for my legs being like jelly every single Wednesday. Pennington.
Pennington, yep.
Is my personal trainer every Monday morning for half an hour. And he's agreed to come in early this Saturday morning, have a chat with me about whatever.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Not a problem. Happy to be here.
Cool. And cheers. I've just made my coffee.
Yeah. Beautiful.
We were just talking about social media a minute ago.
Yeah.
And particular Instagram. And yeah, I did that too actually for a little bit. Angel had a she makes toys, and we did this Fuzzle Puff range, these cute little Fuzzle Puffs. You need to look them up.
Right.
They're just like a cute little animal thing. And we did a Kickstarter. And no, it was even before that actually. I was doing her Button Wings as her brand. I was doing the Instagram. And yeah, I read up on that. I was doing that thing where you follow a bunch of people, do a lot of things, then drop them, and then and had the and keep track of everyone who's
well, that's like it's crazy. I didn't even realize until recently that you can even you can download a separate app that apparently tells you who unfollows you.
Yeah, I had that.
So you can literally go, oh, who's unfollowed me? And then you go back through your list and go, oh, well, I'm going to unfollow them and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I had that going. Yeah.
So, and I mean, I personally think that's that side of it's a little bit toxic.
It's very vacuous.
Yeah, I mean,
it's meaningless.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, who really cares if John from, England or Wales or something like that unfollowed you for some random reason? So he probably just followed you and hoped that he'd follow you back, sort of thing. So, yeah, I've never understood that, but then people want to know exactly who's unfollowing them, so then they can go back through their list and then unfollow them, go, well, if you're not going to follow me, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, but it's, the whole social media side of it, I see it more, from my business perspective and my sport perspective, it's a very intrinsic part of it all. It's very much tied in, especially
visual.
The whole especially my sport of bodybuilding. So obviously, as you know, I do personal training, and I've been doing that for the last since 2015, so the last 6 years. But I've also compete and do bodybuilding. So as you also know, and with that sort of thing, especially nowadays, how it's sort of transitioned and how it's progressed, a lot of it is online. You pick up sponsorships online, clothing companies, meal prep companies, all that sort of thing. So then there's more of a need to have that social media, especially if you're wanting to progress in the sport. Because with this sort of sport, I'm not going to dribble on about bodybuilding for ages, but in this sort of sport, it's not like if you become a professional boxer or tennis player or footballer or anything like that, where once you're a professional, you've made it, you've got your millions or whatever. I think the best or biggest show in the world, the Mr. Olympia, first place in what I compete in, which is men's physique, is, I think it was maybe $25,000 to $50,000 for the first place. And this is the person who's best in the world at that division.
Yeah.
Not a lot of money compared to a footballer who might make such amount of $1 million per game, sort of thing. So the real money in the sport comes from sponsorships. So you pick up a clothing company, basically, and then I was talking to a client about this the other day, and we were saying how basically sponsorships now, or companies will legit look for you at your Instagram. And it'll be oh, how many followers do you have? Because if we sponsor you and you've got 1 million followers, then 1 million people are going to see our brand. So it's perfect marketing for them. And then you tell them to go buy our stuff. We give you a link. We give you a discount code. We give you promotional stuff to post about whatever. And then basically, so it's that sort of thing. It's different now to maybe how it used to be. I'm not sure back in the day with sponsorships how it used to work with this particular sport. I think that could be very accurate to how it is with a lot of sports, possibly now. The whole social media side of it is how big your following is. Fact is, if you've got I'm nothing impressive on social media. I mean, it's just...
How many Instagram followers have you got?
I think about maybe just over 800.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm nothing... and the big thing is, it is a very visual thing, and people follow stuff they like. So, not to sound, I don't know, hypocritical or something, but if you are an attractive girl and you've got a good body and you take photos in bikinis and that, you're pretty well guaranteed to get a good deal of followers. Because, I mean, it's just how it is. I've got no issue with that at all. I've got no issue with, if people have worked hard, especially with what I do in my profession and in my sport, if people work hard for their bodies and they diet like crazy and, they put the effort in, they're up every morning to do cardio, they're at the gym every day or every second day or 4 times a week, whatever it might be.
Half an hour every Monday.
Exactly, and they want to take photos of themselves, if it's a guy or if it's a girl, let's just use a girl for example, if she's at the beach and she's in a bikini and she's looking good, all the, stuff is right, and she wants to take a photo and put it up on Instagram or whatever, then, then so she should. It's not then the issue I have, and I see this a lot with, obviously, so my girlfriend does the same stuff as me. So she does, she competes in fitness and that sort of thing. So, which is, I suppose you could classify in the realm of bodybuilding. It is going up on stage and it is posing. So, and she's got a decent social media. I'm not sure, maybe 2,000 something, something like that. So, but it's not nothing of what she posts is sexual, really. I wouldn't classify it. It's just her, just her showing pictures of at the beach or in the gym or at a unit or something. And, a lot of girls are the same and will just post stuff like that. And then, unfortunately, you're going to get X amount of people who are going to go, oh, well, you're showing it off. So then I'm allowed to comment and say X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
I'm completely cool. People say, great body, you're looking great, oh, amazing, you're looking hot, that sort of stuff. That's fine. I'd be flattered if I got comments like that all the time, which I don't. But, if I did, that'd be cool. So it's only when...
looking hot, Kurt, though.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I've kept it tucked away just for the safety of today. So, but then the only thing I have issues with, and this isn't just, I'm not just saying this about my girlfriend, about anyone, guys and girls. I've had weird messages before myself, but then, I think it'd be worse for girls in particular because the amount of just weird messages that they get from guys, it's unfortunate, that it's from guys, you can't deny that. I've never come across many girls on a social media platform that are gonna message a guy and be like, oh, you're so hot, I want to have sex with you, sort of thing. Not many girls are gonna do that to a guy, sort of thing. But unfortunately, guys will say the most real, I don't know how PG your podcast is here. So
I guess it's for adult audiences. Content warning at this point.
So yeah, I just just so I don't swear too much. That's all.
No, that's fine. That's
so,
fine. I think.
But the messages you see people put up and stuff, and it's just really vulgar stuff, and it's all sexual, and the sort of the reasoning that people have behind that is just well, you're posting it. So you want me to look at you?
Yeah.
It's
I think that's a really, really good point, and I think you've put it really well. There's a very clear, in the way you put it, difference between someone having a beautiful body and going, here is my beautiful body, and that being sexualized.
Yeah. I mean, this goes, I'm not just saying for girls as well, this goes for guys too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you a story now of probably the weirdest message I've ever received from someone. And when I tell people this, a few people that, I mean, a lot of people that are close to me will know this sort of story. But this would have been Christmas time, 2018, I think. I was like just dead sick for some reason. Christmas Day, I'd been throwing up in the toilet, and I was, curled up in the fetal position on my bed. And then I just got this message from this person off an ad that I put up, like advertising personal training. So I put up this ad, and this bloke messaged me, and he said, he's like, who's the muscly guy at the end? And I had no idea what this dude was talking about. Stealing the show.
Yeah, she just wanted some attention. So but my dog is here.
But yeah, I had no idea what this guy was talking about. So, because I didn't realize it was an ad that come off this thing. I was like, oh, what is this? And I went into the ad and I went, oh, that's right, I posted this. And it was a transformation photo of myself from my first show that I did when I started. And then the second photo was me in a bathroom at Good Life in Caloundra, the gym. And I was just after a show. I was tanned and I was lean and everything. And then, so I just went, oh, that's me. I said that, and I explained the whole thing. So that was after a show, blah, 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 blah. That's my transformation. And then he went, I said, that was a few years ago. And he's like, oh, so what do you look like now? And I'm being completely honest and just open at this point. I'm thinking, oh, yeah, he's not really going to. I just thought, oh,
we're just talking.
We're just talking, yeah. And then when I tell this story back, it makes it feel like, okay, well, you should have seen the signs. Mm. But anyway, so I just went, same, just, not quite as lean and a bit bigger. Then he asked for a photo, and I just, sent him through a photo from I didn't take one in the bedroom or anything like that. Mm. I just sent him a photo from a more recent prep. And he was like, oh my God, you look amazing, that sort of thing. And so I said to him, I was like, oh, look, can I help you? Or do you just want to look at photos of me? I said, because I've got an Instagram for that, if that's all you want to do. And then he proceeded to ask me about personal training. He's like, oh, how much, etc. So I'm telling him my prices and stuff. And then what follows was this message. Now, I'm going to swear a little bit here. So, but he messaged me and he said, firstly he said, can I ask you if you're keen on something? He's like, easy cash. And I went, what are you talking about? And then he goes, I just want to meet you, and I want to meet a muscly guy and feel muscles. And he's like, and he went, if you've got mates, and he went, this is quoted, he went, sexy cunts like you, he goes, I'll pay, he was offering to pay me $100 to basically have me come around, and he wanted to just feel my muscles as I flexed and whatever else, God knows.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing is, I'm missing, there was a whole paragraph sent to me. And he finished it. I thought this was funny. He signed it off, went, don't worry, I'm young, not some old creep. And I went, oh, well, that makes it better then. I said no. I said, obviously. Yeah. I said no.
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, come on, please, I'll offer you $200. And then at that point, I just blocked him. I was like, I'm done with this. But then there is that side of it. Unfortunately, when you start, especially in this sort of fitness thing, when you start building a body, and especially when like we're going on show, and if you're really lean, or after the shows you're really lean, and obviously you want to take advantage of the fact that you're lean, so you're posting every second day photos of yourself with abs and shredded and all that sort of stuff. Photos from stage and all these sort of things. So with that comes a certain level of attention. And then obviously the better looking you are, the more attractive you are, the more the attention. I'm not saying that's coming from me because of that.
You're very good looking. I've seen the photos.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, I guess if where men are sexualized, and women are sexualized much more in our society, obviously, and kind of all the time and everywhere, but where men are, it is that kind of totally cut, here's my muscles, that is the that's the sexualized version of a man, I think, generally.
But then, it's a funny thing. I always tell people, because there's always these jokes. You see these memes on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and it's like, I started going to the gym and lifting weights to build muscles to impress girls. But all you get is attention from other guys going, oh man, you look amazing, you look jacked, oh look, let me see your abs, let me see your quads and that sort of thing. And it's 100% true. And obviously, everyone likes what they like. Everyone's got their own preference. I mean, it might come as a surprise for me to say this to some people, or it might be very commonplace. A a lot of people that I know, or like I think a lot of girls don't really like your mass monsters, your real muscular guys who are shredded and that sort of thing, where their glutes look like two almonds together, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, to some degree, like not everyone likes the muscle look. I can remember a year or so ago, or maybe, actually no, it would have been longer than that, maybe 2 years ago. I was chatting with some girl, and I happened to, well, no, we ended up talking about me doing bodybuilding or me training or something. So I sent her this video after I placed second at the Queensland titles in 2019, or second and fourth, and in the two divisions I did. And the next day I was on the bike. When I got off the bike from doing my cardio, and I had like, after my show, because obviously 16 to 20 weeks of dieting, I was really lean, and then after having a little bit of a refeed, it just helped my body so much. So I took a video of my quads, and they were just, very lean, very, like separated.
Quads are your muscle here.
So your thigh muscles, yeah. So I took a video of them like flex. It's probably the leanest my legs have ever been, and they were looking pretty good, in my opinion. And anyway, I showed this girl this. First thing she said to me was, yuck. And I was like, oh, fuck. So, so it's like sometimes, because I think a lot of people, I think more so guys, I think the average man thinks, oh, if I get a six pack and I'm all tan and I'm all jacked, girls will really like that sort of thing. But not all girls do. Yeah. Obviously, it's like there's different strokes for different folks. So, certain people like, skinny men, like really muscular men, like overweight men, all these sort of things. Everyone's got their preferences and got their things. So I'm not saying don't go to the gym and don't train and don't get muscular and look the way you want to look, because, it's not going to attract girls. The fact is, it probably will, it probably won't. You never know. So, but there will be a type of person or type of girl, and this goes both ways for guys who like girls who are muscular or go to the gym and that sort of thing. And, it's just that sort of, it's just what it is, And so I always say to people, you shouldn't, like, I'm all for having whatever goal you need to have. That's whatever's going to inspire you to go to the gym or to, to go for a walk or do any sort of physical activity, whatever goal that might be, whatever's going to work for you. You should do it. If it is about looking jacked and tan and walking on the beach in summer and having the abs and the chest and the shoulders and the arms, and you want people to go, oh, look at that guy, as you walk past, and you want that attention for that reason, then fine. Yeah. If that's going to make you go to the gym every day, if it's because, you're overweight and you just want to be healthy and that's your sort of thing, or you want to be under a certain weight or whatever, or you want to look normal, whatever you classify normal as, then so be it. So all I would say is do whatever you're doing, whatever you choose to do, but do it for yourself is the biggest thing. Like, honestly, I don't think
life advice generally.
Yeah. I mean, I've never trained and done. I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, being what I do with bodybuilding, I mean, I'll be honest, 100% honest. I like the attention. I like people commenting and saying I look a certain way. Even if like I said, I get it more from guys, but I'd love it if it was from girls. Even though I've got a girlfriend, and I'm 100% happy and that sort of thing. And I wouldn't even think about going any other way with any other girl. But like, it's nice to be noticed. It's nice for like even if it's not your partner or whatever, it's nice to be wanted or desired by the opposite sex. Even if, there's not a shred of a point in your sort of head where you'd even think about actually, like, if some chick was like hitting on you or something, you're not actually going to go, because you got your partner or whatever, you're not going to go, oh yeah, I'm just going to go for her or sort of thing. But, it's nice to be noticed, sort of thing. Yeah. I think everyone wants to be noticed in some way. I think certain people will say they don't, but I think deep down, if you could just snap your fingers and you could look, whatever you have in your head of the ideal body, if it's Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 70s, or it's Sylvester Stallone, or if it's Chris Hemsworth or whatever it might be. If I just go, okay, tomorrow morning you're going to wake up and you're going to look exactly how you want to look. I don't think any person would say, no, that's not for me. I'm not going to do that. If you just say, you don't have to do anything, just go to bed, wake up, look in the mirror, and you'll be sweet. If you could say that, I think everyone would say yes.
My mind goes to, oh, you have to maintain it though.
Yeah. So, but let's take that out. If it was just a hypothetical that would just stay that way.
Well, sure, I agree. I think like it's absolutely fundamental as human beings to be like accepted and loved in our tribe, right? Like there's something really primal about people liking us. That matters a lot, and and how we look is a big, that's a dimension of that.
Yeah. So. But it's, it is what it is. And like, I've always, sort of, I suppose I'll get this off the topic of being just about looks and all that sort of thing. But like if we like transition, like for me, like if we look at sort of fitness in a way, or just health or wellness or whatever you want to talk about, or however you want to phrase it, basically, you've got your physique reasons why you do it. You've got your, I want to lose weight, I want to gain muscle, I want to be stronger, or whatever. I want to look a certain way. And then obviously you've got your performance reasons for why you might want to do it. I want to jump this far, run this far, this fast, whatever. So, but I think a big side of fitness, and I know I'm sort of just completely changing the subject a little bit here, but the side of fitness that I find probably most valuable is just the mental aspect of it. So like for me personally, the gym is a constant thing. It's a constant that's never changing. Like no matter how you feel, whether you're, on top of the world, life's great, you're happy, a 40 kilo dumbbell is going to weigh 40 kilos. Yeah. It doesn't really give a shit if you're happy or you're sad or whatever. So it's a constant. It's a constant in your life sort of thing. It's always there. So it's like if you're depressed, the weights are there to be lifted. If you're happy, the weights are there to be lifted. And this is, take it however you want, the driveways to be run, whatever. It's a constant that never changes. It doesn't care of what your emotions are or where you're at or whatever. So for me, it's a constant in my life, and it's honestly therapy. Like some days it matters like very little to what like why you're in the gym training. Yeah. Like maybe 80% of the time you're in the gym to get jacked, to get swole, to get fit, to get lean, whatever it might be.
And there's a chunk of the conversation that's actually missing here. I recorded this podcast on my laptop. I use QuickTime Recorder. I didn't realize that it just stops recording partway through without really letting you know. The picture kind of freezes, but unfortunately a chunk of the conversation was lost here before I went, hey, the picture's frozen, I might just see what's happening. Saved it and went. So I put these little technical difficulty sounds in here and me explaining what's going on. Conversation picks up again shortly. Happens another time later in the thing. I might drop another one of these little technical difficulty things in there. But anyway, hopefully nothing too profound was lost. All right, and we're recording again. We just had a momentary tech check with this new tech setup. But I just asked you about perseverance, determination, like how do you do it?
How do you stay?
How do you just go, all right, I want to go for a jog every morning? Like, or what do you do? Okay, how have you made it a constant?
What's my routine?
Well, yeah, what's your routine? But how do you make yourself keep it routine as well? I mean, is it just is there a choice there? Is it the prominent, like, what's your...
Well, I mean, the thing is, there's always a choice. Like, every day you have the option to stay in bed or to get up in the morning and do whatever. Yeah. For me, it's honestly, it all comes back to your why. I think it's probably the most important thing. That you can have your reasons for doing it sort of thing, but your why is to, why are you exercising?
Yeah, I think you're right.
If you've got a strong why, that'll always, like for me, if I'm getting ready for a show or a competition, there's a very strong why as to why I'm doing it. Because, you know, in 20 weeks' time, I've got to be tanned and I've got to be standing on stage. So I've got a deadline. I've got this point here. So then there's a strong motivation to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning and go for an hour's walk or get on the bike for an hour. So, but as to like how you stay disciplined, honestly, the biggest thing for me is just, it's developing the habit. Because one word that I, you know, almost hate hearing all the time is motivation. It's like people go, oh, how do you stay motivated? Or, you know, how do you do that sort of thing? It's like, oh, I don't have motivation at the moment. You know, motivation is just shit, to be honest. It comes and it goes. That's the thing. It's not a constant. It comes and it goes. One day you'll wake up, you'll be super motivated, you'll go for a 5K run. You'll just feel it. You'll just feel, maybe you watch something. Maybe you watched a podcast of, you know, Joe Rogan or something, or David Goggins or something.
Now. Go for a jog.
Exactly.
At the end.
So, or, you know, it could have been something you saw on TV, or it could have been a best mate or something. Who comes and gets you, or like doing PT with me. There's a reason you're more motivated because there's someone there or whatever. But the fact is, like, I can tell you right now, I'm definitely not motivated to train and to do cardio. I told you when we came in, I was up at 3:45 yesterday morning. I had to do an hour's cardio before I started my day at 5:30, which was my first client of the day yesterday. So, and I can tell you, when I woke up in the morning, because I was talking to clients and they're just like, oh, how do you do that? Like, I couldn't do that. Like going out and pitch black dark and, you know, walking or running for that period. And I said, I had no motivation to do it. It was freezing cold. It was windy. I woke up and literally sat on the edge of my bed and went, and then got up, walked outside, put my shoes on, my jumper on, everything. Got out to the front of the house and just looked outside at this just pitch black and turned back and looked at the house. It was all lit up and all warm and stuff. And I just went, fuck, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this at all. And I just went, just go. Just, you know, the sooner you start, the sooner you finish, sort of thing. So the biggest thing I would say, advice I could give anyone is that you just have to form the habit. So it's about forming that habit. It's no different to how, like, you know...
So do you have that allocated? Is that like every Friday you're like up at...
Not necessarily. Okay. So at the moment with what my coach... So I have a coach myself who's over in New Zealand, and he mainly just like... I do all my own training stuff. I program all my own training when I'm throughout prep and that sort of thing, and that's fine. My coach for me will mainly do my nutrition and just tell me how much cardio he wants me to do based on the based on the photos and the progress that he sees. If we're like this isn't a case like, so if I'm in off season, I won't do cardio as much. I probably still should to a degree. But I back off of it a bit, because towards the end of a prep, you're doing an hour's cardio 7 days a week. And then in some cases, so like when I was at the peak of my prep, I was training 7 days a week in the gym for about an hour, even hour to 2 hours a day. Then the first thing in the morning, I would get up and I'd do an hour's cardio on whatever cardio machine. Normally I would go on the bike. Some days I'd go for a fast-paced walk. So when I'm walking, I call it walking with purpose. It's like you're in a rush at a shopping center trying to get to the other side of the shopping center before it closes, but you're not running. You're fast-paced walking. I walk like I'm in a rush to get somewhere. But to the point that if you saw me walking in the street and I was doing that, you wouldn't stop. You'd be like, oh, fuck, he's going somewhere. So I'll do that for an hour every day. Then I train for, you know, upwards of 2 hours sometimes. And then straight after training, I do another half an hour of cardio. So then on those peak days, I could be training probably anywhere from 3 to 4 hours a day total, if you added it all up with cardiovascular training and all that sort of thing. Then if I wanted to, on top of that, I might even decide to add in some little like accessory work, like doing a bit of abs or something, just purely in an effort to just burn more calories, really. So, and when you're at that level, like you're not running on optimal food. You're depleted of nutrients, really. You've got very little carbs. You're dying on a regular basis. Like some days just sitting on the couch and standing up from the couch, you stand up and you go, and you're trying to catch your breath because you're just exhausted, and then you got to do all that work on top of it. Then you got to go to work. I mean, I'm very lucky with the work that I do. It mirrors my sport pretty much. I know guys that prep for shows that do labouring. I couldn't imagine being on a shoveling all day like that. But then obviously you take that into account. You would take that into account of, okay, well, if you're doing that, there's maybe not a strong need for you to be doing cardio like crazy every single day because of your workload at work. So, but like it has to become, the biggest thing is that it just has to become a habit. You have to be forced to make it a habit, and you have to do it for a certain amount of days before it can become a habit. So there's that sort of, I don't know if it's 100% true, but I know that there was a study saying that it takes 66 days to form a habit.
Yeah.
So that you would have to do something consecutively, day in, day out for 66 days, and then you would have formed that habit. No different to brushing your teeth at night, or, for having a coffee in the morning or something. It's just something that you do, and that's what it has to become. It has to become something that you just do. It's like breathing. It's just a fact that gets scheduled into your day.
Yeah.
And the fact is, like, I'm not saying that it's easy for everyone. Obviously, it's easier for some people, but I know people who have crazy, like, busy jobs. They might, and then on top of it, these certain, like, some people, they might be studying as well. They might be at university, and then they're studying whatever they're studying. Then they're going to work. Then they're training on top of it. So. And those people I know master, and that's a big thing. If you have limited time during the day, I think you have to become a master of the AM. So you have to be up early. You have to get used to, and you have to
I think you're right.
basically love getting up early. I mean, you might not love it every day, but it just, again, it becomes a habit where, Monday morning, I wake up, you might go, okay, I'm getting up at, 5 a.m. or something. And I'm going to, let's use the fact that you go to a gym. You're going to go to a gym at 5, be there at 5:30.
Yeah.
Train for an hour or something, or 45 minutes or whatever. Leave there before 8:30 or at 8:30. You have a sort of, time limit or something. At that period, or 7:30, whenever, you're back home, you're ready for work at 8 a.m., whenever it is, or 8:30, whenever you start work. Let's say someone works a normal 9 to 5 sort of thing. And then one thing I always get from people just go, oh, but it's not as easy for me as it is for my friend, or as it is, they got much more relaxed time. Oh, of course they can do that. I'm not saying that it's easy for everyone. And I'm not saying that some people have to work a lot harder because of their lifestyle. Like, if you add on the fact that you got a family, you've got kids, you got work, you got a social life that you still want to have, and all that sort of thing. So, and that's fair enough. But it's just like, it is doable. I honestly don't care who you are or what your circumstances are. For me, when I get up ridiculously early in the morning, and like the earliest I think I've ever gotten up to do cardio is like 2:30 in the morning. It is possible. That's what I'm going to say, is that there are 24 hours in a day. I find it very hard to believe that people are non-stop for 24 hours in a day. Okay, you need your sleep. That's important. I'm not going to say sacrifice sleep. I'm not going to be, say, you only need this amount of hours and then you're fine. I honestly recommend 7 to 9 hours for most people. I mean, that's optimal for health and that sort of thing. Because then if you're looking at fat loss, for instance, I'm not going to go too nerdy with everything, but if you're restricting sleep for a long period of time with fat loss, then, impairment of sleep will cause you to hold on to body fat.
Yeah, right.
And that's 100% true.
Interesting.
It's 100% true. So sleep is important. So it's a factor of anything. And the bottom line is, if it's important to you, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse. Yeah, and I'm not going to say the excuses won't be valid.
Is that your quote? That's a good one.
No, it probably isn't mine. So, but like, it's like, and I've said to people before, it's like, okay, if you're going to the airport in the morning, you've got a flight that's at 6 a.m. in Brisbane. Obviously, we're in Maleny here. It takes probably an hour and a half, on a good day or something, to get to Brisbane Airport or whatever. You got to be there. Your flight leaves at 6:30, so you got to be there like maybe 2 hours before or something. What you're going to do the night before, you're going to have your bags packed. You're going to have everything ready. So then when you wake up, you just grab it and go. You've got, you know what you're going to have for breakfast because you need to be on time. So people can do it. When they're thrusted into a situation like that, they can do it. They can get up early and they can do this sort of thing. And look, I mean, if you don't like the AM, then you do it in the PM. You finish work and then you go and you do your thing. Obviously, the only issue sometimes when you leave it till the end of the day is you've got all day to create an excuse for the afternoon. By the time 6 p.m. comes around, you woke up
and you've done a lot. You've kind of earned going, oh, nah, do you know what? I don't need to.
And that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I've done it myself, and there's different aspects. I mean, I'm very regimented with what I do with training, nutrition, and that sort of thing. But then, I was talking to a client the other day. I've got this book that I'm reading, and I've been so lazy with reading it, and I come up with every which excuse not to read it, and because I want to get it done, because then my brother gave me a book for my birthday, and I wanted to start reading that. So, I'll be like, I shouldn't read it because I need my sleep. I need to get to bed. I'm not going to do it now because I need to do work for programming for people, or I've got to train. I've got to do this. So then that's the same thing. I'm using excuses not to do this, and it's on a different level to being physically active or whatever, or going to the gym, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, every single time in your head, if you allow yourself to, you'll create the perfect excuse, and it'll be valid. It'll be, I'm tired, the kids were up late last night, or they didn't go to bed, or I've got an early day tomorrow, I should get to bed early. No, I can't get up in the morning because I've got to do this. I really need to eat before I go to work, or I'm not going to have enough time because I've got to do this, this, and this. And it'll be valid, because it's no one's ever come up with an excuse and then said to themselves, oh, that's kind of shit. That's not really a good excuse.
Yeah.
So, but to be honest, what I think people should do is just be 100% honest with themselves. It's just, and say it, like, if you have to, I mean, this might sound a bit brutal, but, just be the fact, just go, I'm lazy. That's it. I'm not doing it because I'm lazy. And people, honestly, you don't like hearing that. Like, if I said that to clients, just like flat out, some people will take it really well, some people wouldn't. Mm-hmm. If someone goes, oh, okay, I'm struggling, I can't go to the gym, or I can never find time, or I'm so busy. If I went, no, that's all shit. The fact is that you're lazy and you don't want to do it. People will be like, oh, I'd probably lose a lot of clients doing that, because, I mean, the truth hurts sometimes. And I've had, my coach has said it to me. I can remember back in, this was probably 2017, I always, I thought, okay, I train with good intensity. I'm balls to the wall when I'm training. And I finished a session with my coach, and he went, you just don't have that intensity to just, I'm going to just go and do it, and no matter what happens, I don't care. I'm just going to push. And I thought I did. And him saying that to me, I was like, the fuck? I was like, yes, I do. Of course I do. I grew up like this. I grew up on a farm. I do all this hard work. Of course I've got that thing. And I had to literally stop and think and go, fuck, maybe I don't. Mm-hmm. And then every time I rocked up to a session with him, it was, I can show you, watch this. I'm going to go until something snaps, or, until I can't push no more. I'm going to show you, watch this. Watch this for intensity. Mm-hmm. I'm going to shake and quiver and everything. I'm going to do everything I can just to absolutely go mental, so then you can deem me worthy or something, So, and it was like, that for me was a big wake up going, maybe I sort of, and that's the thing, you can approach things different ways. When someone says to you, you're this, you're that, look, fact is, you're being taken advantage of. You're being lazy, you're not being on time, you're doing this, this, and this. You can either stop and look at yourself and think, am I like that? And question it and going, well, maybe I am. And that's not a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, self-reflection is a huge thing, which I think everyone should do. The moment you think your shit don't stink and, you got everything figured out is the moment you stop progressing in any aspect of your life, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. You can't fall into it's like, like someone said, you give someone a stable relationship, a comfy house, enough money to get by, and they'll sit back and do nothing until they die. Mm-hmm. If you, comfort is a drug, it's 100% a drug. And if you fall into that comfort zone, then you basically you're allowing yourself to stop progressing. And one thing I love is, I love determined people. I love meeting determined people. I love in whatever aspect it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't care if someone's a barber, but they've got a dream of opening up their own shop.
And it's inspiring.
Yeah, they're determined. Like, and those sort of people go, I mean, it could be something. Oh, I'm going to compete at the Olympics one day. You watch me.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm going to open my own business. Or I'm going to go get a job, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to print out 1,000 resumes. I'm going to hand them out to everywhere. That's a determined person. Or like one thing I love hearing about people, and this is like I like to think that I'm like this myself. I think I could always be better. I think everyone could always be better, but like. To be proud but never satisfied. I was talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday morning, actually, when I was out walking, and we're just talking about like physique stuff, and like it's so important to look back and see your accomplishments, whatever they might be. I think it's a big thing that no one looks at what they've already achieved in life. Like no one goes, well, look at this. I've got a happy, healthy family. I've got a good job that I enjoy doing, or that earns me good money. I can go on the weekend and hang out with my family. I've got good mates, it's that sort of thing where you should stop and reflect, because sometimes we get too caught up with, I don't have this, no, I don't have this, no, I don't have this.
Yeah.
So, and then you get too caught up with that, and then basically you never stop, because when you look back, it's inspiring for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take this to a physique level, because that's what I know. So if you're looking back, and this is why, I recommend with people that they take photos of themselves. It's uncomfortable to do. I sent my coach a photo of myself a few months ago, and I was honestly disgusted with how I looked, which sounds funny for me to say to some people, because then, I get some clients, and, I'm not trying to blow smoke up my own ass here, that'll go, oh, I wish I looked like you, and I wish I had your physique, because, I hate how I look, sort of thing, but I disliked what I saw. It was not good, in my opinion, anyway. And I sent it off to him, feeling whatever. The fact is that he's my coach. It's data for him. He's not getting it and going, oh, fuck, that's disturbing to look at, or, oh, Jesus, Kurt, you've let yourself go. Even if that was the case, one thing I love about my coach in particular is he's honest with me. If I've put on weight, he'll go, Kurt, you've gotten fat. And I'll just go, oh, no, I'm bulking. No, that's not it. And then he's like, no, you've gotten fat. He's like, we need to cut this back a bit. What are you doing? What are you eating? What's going on? It's accountability to someone else. But to circle it back to what I was talking about before, is that that self-reflection, it's just if you look back, because sometimes we get so caught up with what the future sort of thing, or what's happening next, that or I've got to land this business deal or this client or whatever. I've got to get more money, more profit, more whatever, bigger muscles, whatever it might be. And then you look back and you go, shit, I was a skinny little boy when I started doing this, or I was overweight, or whatever. Again, I'm just back to fitness and that sort of thing. But if you look at two photos and you go, wow, look at me then, look at me now. Imagine another 10 years, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And and it's again, I think it can be sometimes dangerous if you look at that and go, oh, I'm happy, and I'm going, I'm just going to stay where I am. But the thing is, I
think that's fine to do
it
sometimes
is fine,
too.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be.
It just, yeah. You stop progressing.
Yeah. So the thing is, what I love hearing this from people. When someone says to me, whether it's a friend or if it's a client or whatever, or family member, and they go, oh, look at this, look at my before and after photos, or whatever, and they go, look at, or whatever, and then they look at that and they go, but I want more. I'm super proud of that. I'm super pumped about that.
Cool.
But let's get to work. Let's go a little bit further. I'm happy with how look how much my legs have changed or my chest has changed. I never thought I could change the shape of my shoulders. I thought I'd always going to have skinny little shoulders. Yeah. And then now I've got these big wide shoulders and that sort of thing. It's you look in the mirror every day. That's a big thing. So sometimes you don't notice your changes if you're constantly I guarantee.
I'm making some notes. I want to, because I feel like you've got a 5 keys to success kind of thing. So
I don't know about that.
No. Anyway, don't let me. stop you. I think, did Nick and I take before photos as well, like the very first time that we trained together?
I'm not sure. We've snapped some photos before.
Yeah.
But like the big thing too, it's uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't like taking photos of myself because, I mean, some days you do, some days you don't. And then like, I admire people who can post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
I can't all the time. Like, I put up a video on my Instagram the other day, which is a progression that I sent to my coach. I sent it to my coach first, and he praised me. He said, "You're looking awesome. This is good progress." I sent it to my girlfriend, and she said, "Yeah, you're looking good." I'd said to her before I sent it, I said, "Please be honest with me." I was like, "Don't bullshit me. Don't just tell me I look good if I don't look good." I was like, "I don't want to hear that shit. I want to know. I want you to say, 'Babe, you're fat,' or 'Babe, you're this,' or I said, 'I know I'm not super lean, but just,'" and then she sent back honest feedback, was like, "Oh yeah, your stomach's come in, you're looking good, you're looking full," or whatever. So I want that sort of honest feedback, and that helped. And that I had to do those two things, and then I sat looking at it for ages before I even posted it. So, because it was I don't know if it was fear of judgment or whatever, or if it was I don't look like the lean people you see every day on social media or on Instagram. So then I had that sort of in my head, and eventually I ended up posting it, and and I got a good, decent amount of support and response from it. So, which is cool. So, like, I always give credit to people who are happy with themselves, and they post photos of how they look, and they're happy with how they look. Even though maybe if we're related to someone who competes, which I think post-show depression is a big thing. When you go from looking really shredded or really lean and your abs are showing and all that sort of stuff, and you got lines in your legs and everything, and in your chest and your shoulders, whether you're a man or a woman, doesn't matter. And then you start to eat and you start to put that fluff back on a little bit, which is healthy, which is what you need to do. Just some people go overboard with that. And then you look in the mirror and you weren't what you saw 4-6 weeks ago. You're a little bit puffier now. And people honestly get real depression from that, eating disorders from that, all this sort of thing.
And
so
I think that's one of the things. Like I want to get a recipe for like determination and commitment from you. So that's what I'm trying to put down. But I think that's one of the things that I find really challenging is when I'm, like you said, oh, if you could have the body that whatever body you wanted, and straight away my mind is like, oh yeah, but I've got to work to maintain it.
Right.
And I think like that's because it's so much a mental game, right? Obviously. And like I notice that so much, and you'll do things like, all right, this is the last one or whatever. And it's incredible to notice the change in my reserves based on what I'm thinking is ahead and that kind of thing. But I think I'm often doing, when I'm doing something, I'm not in that moment doing it. I'm like, I need to do this for my entire life just to stay still with this. Yeah, and
that's I think that's a big thing that a lot of people like. We think too far ahead.
Yeah,
it's like being more present in like the here and now and what's going on, and relate this any way that you want. Really, you want to put this towards career or fitness or whatever it might be, a relationship. If people get so, and I'm not trying to sound, like super philosophical here or anything like that, but people get so caught up with, like, oh, what's going to happen? Like if it's a relationship or, where are we headed? Are we moving in together? Are we getting married or this sort of thing? Or if it's fitness, am I going to look this way? Am I going to whatever? Or if it's business, where am I going to be? So how many times in the future? But the fact is, in any of those situations, just being present and enjoying the actual moment of like, if it's a relationship, just enjoying the time you spend with your partner. It's like, who gives a shit where it goes? Who cares if you get married or not? Who cares if you move in together or not? Who cares what happens? Bottom line is, are you having fun with that person? Do you enjoy their company? Do they make you smile? If you go into the gym, when you leave or when you finish your session, do you feel accomplished? Do you feel good? Were you surprised you could do that? Sort of thing. And it's like, if you can say yes, yes, yes to all those sort of things, then it's like then you just focus on that here and now and what's in front of you. If it's a session, if it's a whatever, like honestly, I'll even go about like my least favorite session in the world to do is leg day. I think a lot of people may agree with me on that.
I do.
Leg work is just brutal. And I have this routine at the moment, which is just painfully painful. So, and I did it yesterday, and like I dreaded doing it all day long. And the fact is, when you get to that, like if you're doing a workout, especially this was one that it's written out, it's there for me, my sets, reps, everything. So, and you get to a point, if you're looking down this list of what you're doing in this session, and you're going, oh my God, I've got to do split squats, I've got to do lunges, oh fuck, I'm dead, and that sort of thing. If you just go, okay, what's first? Seated leg curl. Okay, right, smash this out. Let's see how much weight can I do with good form, how much reps can I do, let's see how much I can push this. That's done, scratch it off, what's next? Number 2, okay, focus on that. Back squats, okay, let's go do that. If you start looking towards the end, like if at the start of a session I say to you, we're going to do this, and this, and you go, oh shit, did you say burpees at the end or something like that? You go, oh, that's brutal, I've got to do that at the end.
And I find that so difficult. And I know I years ago I had a job picking tobacco, and I remember noticing this then, because like it's very, as you imagine, it's like just the same thing over and over again, right? But you'd look and these fields would just go as far as the eye could see, and looking at that, it's like, oh my God, this is just so much. But all you do is just what's in front of you. And like I noticed that really simply then. But to be honest, with working out, I find that really, really difficult. I think I'm always like, this is going to be finished at this. No. Like I need to make it through to here. And my mind does this calculation when I know, which is, I like how you're quite often, I don't know what's coming next. But having said that, also like when I do, I also like, I can do that. So I'm going to, but there's somewhere where my brain goes, oh no, that's too much. And with working out, I find it really difficult to do that. Which is weird because it's always a fixed time too, right? So you can just go.
Like the big thing, like I can remember doing things like when I was younger, if it was handing out resumes or if it was handing out flyers, I have like, for me, and this might sound funny or surprising, like even now, I have such an anxiety around dropping flyers in people's mailboxes.
Oh yeah?
And the reason being is I don't know why, I just fear someone's going to come out and be like, oi, what are you doing? I don't want that shit, piss off. And then I'm going to be like, oh, sorry. And then I'm going to be embarrassed and feel like a dickhead and then walk off. Fact is, never once has happened. One time someone came up to me and they said, oh, what's this? And I explained, oh, this is, personal training, blah, blah, blah. And they went, oh, sorry, that's not for me. Okay, no worries. Have a good day. See you later. And then then I said to myself, that's the worst case scenario. And I used to have to psych myself up with that. Like same thing when I was dropping off resumes. I'm like, worst case scenario, they say, no, sorry, we're not looking for anyone, but thank you. And then you go, okay, cool, thanks for your time. And you walk away. And yet you build up this thing. It's like you think someone's going to go, oh, piss off, we don't want you here. And they're going to insult you. It's like, but like how often does that happen? And I know like, especially with teenagers.
If it does, how bad is it really?
Exactly. It's never like, it's not like you're going to be crumbled. Like, yet for me, and I don't know if like with that, it's a fear of confrontation. I'm not an overly confrontational person, but like, I don't shy away from it. If it happens, it happens. If it's like, if it was a situation where it was someone was saying something to my family or my partner or, a friend or whatever, I'm not just going to be the guy who's going to hide in the back of the corner and be like, oh, I don't want to get involved in this. If I have to be confrontational with someone, I will. If I have to scream and yell, or if I have to defend myself or defend a person who's close to me or whatever it might be, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to go out seeking it and just starting fights for no reason. And I don't seek confrontation in any form. I don't like try to aggravate people on the road or anything like that. Whether I do or I don't, who knows? Maybe I do. I don't try to start shit with people in the streets or whatever. I don't try to bother people or try to get into an argument with people. I don't seek it. I don't particularly like it. So, but I don't shy away from it. If it happens, it happens, and you're going to get my full force. That's about it.
Nice.
So, but I'm not a confrontational person at heart. I don't want it. So then, like, I get anxiety around it. But then if it happens, it happens. So when I drop off flyers, like I've done all around Mullaney before, all around Witter, down around Landsborough sort of thing. First job I had as a PT, I was working at a gym in Beerwah, and it was an opening. This gym was just opening, and they said, here's a big box of flyers. These have to be done. Don't come back if they're not done, sort of thing. They have to be handed out. I don't particularly like this gym. I won't name and shame them too much, sort of thing. It's Plus Fitness. But anyway, I did so many flyers. I chucked the rest in the bin, and I walked back, and I said, there you go, they're all done. And they were like, oh, great, well done. Now take this lot. I'm like, oh, fuck. So, and they're like train stations, put them on people's car. And that's the worst thing for me. Is like, I was like, under the windscreen wiper. And I always think to myself, it's like, how do you respond when that happens? Oh, what's this shit? And then like maybe sometimes though you do get, you go, oh, that's interesting. And it's a good thing. Other times, I did so many people's cars that I saw people driving past me with a flyer flapping on the windscreen. I did that many. I went to like Landsborough train station, did every single car in the car park there. Yeah. I thought, oh, who cares if they're gone to work for the next week or something? I'm going to have a flyer here waiting for them. And then all I could think about the whole time when I was doing it was everyone's watching me. Everyone's going, what's that shit? What's he doing? And I get in my own head. My biggest problem, I feel, is that I overanalyze shit too much. I'm getting deep here now.
Yeah.
But I overanalyze shit too much. I overthink things. I create problems for myself that aren't there. And I do that in all aspects of business, whether it's relationships, whether it's whatever. There's 9 times out of 10, never an issue. Yet I create an issue because I start thinking, oh, well, what if this means this? And what if this means this? Sure. And if I do this, like I was saying to, like, sometimes I sit down and do programming for people. I spend an hour just sitting there thinking, okay, what am I going to write this person?
Yeah.
Should I be doing this? Or should I be giving them home sessions? Oh, but will they do it or not? I overthink it too much.
Sure. And look, I think that if that's not very human, it's very Western.
Right.
I think
yeah.
But I also the theme that I'm hearing there, as well as like overactive monkey mind, is also it's about it's a social thing. What are people going to think? It's got nothing to do with your ability or what you're doing, and I can really relate to that.
Yeah.
2, I realize the thing I worry about in my profession, in my work, is how I'm going to be received or thought of. Stuff. Like that causes me much more concern than the job I'm going to do.
Yeah, the actual
which
content.
Is kind of and that it's actually debilitating. Like it decreases my performance in my work because I'm worried about a social dimension and if people are going to like me or think whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's 100% true, and like I think that's probably relatable for a lot of people. Is that like you're constantly concerned about what other people think, and power to people, honestly, and I wish I was more like that, to people who just don't give a shit, like who's got that attitude where I mean, like you've got to have compassion for your fellow human. And you've got to be, this sort of thing. But like, to the fact is like, I'm going to do this. And if you don't like it, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's like, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create, I'm going to go after this. And, I'm going to create this. I know it's good. I know I've worked hard for this.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, then that's fine. I don't care. And I think a lot of people probably need to adapt that sort of thing where like we think too hard that like, if I do this, how's it going to be perceived, or what are people going to think? Are they going to judge me? Am I going to be an outcast? Is it going to work? Should I really play the safer option, or should I really be doing this? Or like maybe more people like this, I should do this, but I'm more passionate about this, but I don't know if I should be doing it because, So,
I think as you get older, you just get better at that.
I think so, yeah.
And some people get it earlier, which is good. But yeah, you're right too. Some people have that, but without the compassion thing, and they're just assholes.
Yeah.
It's just,
but like my favorite person for that is David Goggins. That is a man who don't give a shit what people think about him. People say, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. And he's an inspirational person. And he's a tough man. He's a hard person. So, but like, he's got that attitude, I remember, him saying, when his partner was filming him out for a run, and someone asked him a question of something like, what do you do when people say this, or they have negative response, or people tell you shouldn't do this? And his response is, oh, fuck people. That's his attitude. He's just going, he's like, people can say whatever they want. I don't give a shit. People can tell me that I train too much. People can tell me, oh, it's not good for you. You're going to get degeneration in your joints and that sort of thing. It can't be good for you to run that amount of time or still be pushing or whatever. And he's just, big middle finger to him and just going, oh, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because that's me. That's what I'm about. And I think, obviously, not to everyone should adapt full Goggins mode and just have that, don't give a shit attitude. But I think, the moment that you stop worrying about what people think, you probably get this whole realm of clarity and this totally. Feeling of just being free to do what you want. Because as soon as when you're crowded by other people's opinion of you, whatever that might be, whoever that might be, whether it's how they think of you, of how you look, their opinion of, you're a whatever person, or you're a, my big thing is it's I don't classify myself, or I don't go around saying I'm a bodybuilder. I mean, technically that's my sport and that's what I do. So maybe, you could say I fall under that bracket. But when I don't go, oh yeah, I'm a bodybuilder, because then people will think, oh, well, you're not very, they think a bodybuilder is this big, massive dude who's got big square shoulders, big ass legs. That's a bodybuilder, big dude. The fact I always say I'm a men's physique athlete because it's a different category. So it's a different shape. It's a different thing. So, because then again, around that subcategory of being a bodybuilder, then you get the stigma and the sort of assumptions made about you. You use steroids, or you do this, or you're very selfish, or whatever the sort of thing is. And and honestly, to be able to say, I don't care. If you think, it's going, okay, I do this, I'm proud of what I do. I'm not your typical bodybuilder or whatever. It's I don't do these things. I don't have this personality that you presume all bodybuilders have. I'm not egotistical or anything like that, like you may think everyone is. And then all that, people who are big and have muscles are assholes and are like mean, violent people because, they're big, strong guys, so they can smash anyone or whatever. That they got this mentality. The amount of bodybuilders I know are probably out of any sport I've done over my years, are probably some of the nicest people I've ever met, and the most the community around fitness in general. But around getting better, going, oh mate, you've improved heaps from your last show. Oh, good to see you again. Oh, I can't wait to see you on stage, or I can't wait to see what you've done. And oh, this is great. There are, in any sport or in any aspect of life, there are going to be people who do fall into the category of what they are, of an egotistical asshole, basically, who thinks he's top shit and thinks he's better than everyone else because his shoulders are bigger than the rest of his fucking town or whatever.
That you mentioning that reminds me, I used to collect comics when I was young, and I think it was in Archie's or something, and it was selling a product which I guess was a protein shake or something, I don't know, but the campaign was, and I saw this in multiple things, it was kind of a I don't know, an archetype kind of thing that existed, where there's a skinny guy on the beach with his girlfriend, and the muscly guy comes and kicks sand on his face.
I've seen those.
And then he goes and works out and is muscly.
And the girlfriend goes after him or something
like that. I didn't know. It's just the men, muscly men will kick sand in your face, so you need to be a muscly man. That was
exactly.
idea.
You're a weak, girly man if you don't have big muscles and that sort of thing. Oh, the amount of guys that I know that are these huge dudes, yet you'll see them with their cat on their lap and they're napping with them and they're stroking them, and these huge guys with these little tiny animals, and like they've got the biggest hearts. And I'm not saying, like, one thing I love is meeting people that don't fit the stereotype. Like when you meet someone who's, I don't know, say a rugby player, and you think, oh, well, he parties and does drugs and sleeps with as many girls as he can and pisses in his mouth or whatever else that they do. And then you meet them and they're completely different. They're these nice, caring people. Or like, oh, he's a businessman, so he's got no time for anyone else and he's not. Yet then you meet him and he's very compassionate. He's a nice person. He's willing to help. He's willing to sit down with someone who's just started and show them the ropes and say, hey, look, this is what I did. This is what you should do. Here's your step-by-step plan. Or, you know, like who's an athlete who, like, one big thing I love is like when you said, like, they have that saying, you should never meet your heroes because often they'll let you down.
Yeah.
But then when, like, I haven't met many celebrities or, you know, sportsmen that I follow or respect or, you know, like or anything like that. I've not met many, so I can't really have a comparison to that. But I know people who have met, like, who have loved these singers or whatever their whole life, and they meet them and they're just assholes to them, and then it just ruins their expectation. But when you meet someone who's, like, let's say a famous actor, and the assumption is they don't give a shit about the general public. They're very much about themselves. I suppose that's maybe the stereotype that a lot of us have around celebrities like that. Going, oh, well, like, they're all about how they look and, you know, what they're doing and what they're wearing and blah, 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 who they're sleeping with now, sort of thing. But then when you meet someone who is a celebrity, who takes time to take photos with the fans and who talks to people and generally cares about them and says, you know, and realizes that, well, without you, I'm actually nothing. And that's a big thing I think we need to remember with a lot of people that have these big statures is that without their fans, they are legit zero. And I've said to someone, it would be interesting if one day we all just went, okay, we don't watch movies anymore. We don't watch movies. We don't listen to music. It doesn't exist. What would happen to that genre? It's just like there wouldn't be a need for it. So then, I mean, half these people have enough money that they're set for life now anyway. But now they're not making movies anymore. They're either sitting at home doing nothing, or if they're a lower level actor, they've now got to get a normal job because acting's not a thing. Acting and singing is not a thing anymore. Entertainment is not a thing anymore. We entertain ourselves or whatever. So it'd be interesting, like, I just think, in my opinion, what would happen if that was a hypothetical or whatever. It's a weird thing, I know.
Yeah.
But for that, it just, you know, it's one of those things.
There's a whole another kind of level of celebrity when celebrities are caught consistently being very human and compassionate and suddenly it's like, wow, and we really kind of bring them up to a whole new level of going, wow.
It's like, but they're just being a normal person.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, they're just being considerate, they're just being kind, but I'm going to put you on an even bigger pedestal now. But yeah. Interesting.
Cool. Kurt, I want to do something that's purely I want to do it for myself, but for my listeners as well.
Yeah.
Which is, I want to lose weight. So from when I turned 30, I kind of went up from 75 to 85, and then I'd reached kind of 90.
Right.
I guess about before I started working out. And now I'm somewhere between 86 and 89.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems to be sitting around there.
Right.
Which is an improvement, and that's good.
Yeah.
But I think I'd like, and I mean, I know this, but, you know, last Monday you had me carrying a 20 kilo ball at my tummy and doing stuff. And it's just like, wow, 20 extra kilos is so much.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to lose 20. I want to lose 10. I want to get down below 80 again.
Yeah.
And so I've made my notes from our talking of what I think is the 5-point determination kind of thing. But I want to so I want to ask specifically, this is what I think I should do.
Right.
I think I should daily get up at 5 and do a half an hour and I was going to see if I could get you to help me come up with something. Like, I think a jogging every second day is going to be good, and then maybe some kind of weight workout thing. Right. Is that a good idea for us? So what I think I need to, like I think it needs to be in my calendar. This is what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah. And I can do 5 a.m. I know I can.
Yeah.
And every day but Monday, because Monday I'm here with you at 7:30. That's all right.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's enough? Half an hour?
Well, I mean, yeah, it
6 more
depends.
days of the week?
It depends on like ultimately, like you could do, say, you know, your cardiovascular work, for instance, of doing whatever you enjoy. I mean, if it's running, if it's on a push bike, if it's whatever, you know, cardiovascular is just really determined on anything that's going to elevate the heart rate and keep it there. Honestly, I do a lot of work with heart rate when I'm doing my own cardio stuff, because like the fact is, you want to really have your heart rate between 130 and 150 beats per minute consecutively for at least 30 minutes, you know, 30 minutes or more. So, because anything less than that is not really going to give you the cardiovascular benefit that you want. Okay. I mean, as for activity and as for weight loss...
when you're talking about cardiovascular benefit,
So that's like, strengthening your cardio system, basically, is what we're talking about. But if you're talking about just purely fat loss, if you want fat loss, it doesn't matter, because it's activity. If you're walking, even at a slower pace, you're going to be burning calories. Yeah. So, but, you know, you could do a fast... if I'm going to walk, it's going to be a fast-paced walk. So that way... I am burning a bit more calories. It's more of a workout. It's not just a leisurely walk. Yeah. So, but like honestly, when we talk about you know, weight loss per se, if the goal is whatever, and it's probably going to be no surprise to you that I'm going to say this, is that it's got to come down to nutrition. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. And honestly, I've said to so if I said this is how I go about if I want to start losing weight. Yeah. If it's for a show, this is what I'll do. Mm-hmm. First things first is just to clean up the diet. Okay. Whatever it is, figure out where you're going wrong, what you're doing. You know, do you have periods where you excessively binge? How good is your nutrition in the day-to-day? Are you all over the place? Are you fairly consecutive and consistent with everything? So first things first is just eliminate the junk. If you're eating a bit of junk food often, or even, you know, more often than you'd like, then just try to start with having cleaner, more, you know, better options.
And Adrian here has told me get rid of the 5 whites, which is sugar, bread, rice, maybe potato. Do you recommend getting rid of? No,
not at all. Honestly, like I eat white rice all the way through my prep. Okay. Yeah. I get, you know, sub 5% body fat.
Maybe it's not rice, maybe it's pasta, actually. Maybe it's all
Pasta's going to be higher in carbs. It's much more carby than rice, but and white potato is not bad. Okay. Yeah. White potato is incredibly high in potassium. It's actually a lot higher in potassium than what most people think, and that's going to be a great thing for recovery. Okay. The biggest thing, like, when it comes to nutrition, so, I mean, one thing I do recommend, actually, is heading over to my website. All right, at KFPFitness.com.
Yep, KFP Fitness, yep.
So what I've just finished and I posted is a 6-part series or articles on how to set up a nutrition plan. Okay. I've put through, and they're all in fairly easy to read, not extremely lengthy articles. So anyone who wants to check this out, it is on my website there. So it's kfpfitness.com. A bit of a plug here.
Yeah. Well, that's appropriate. And and you've actually got a nutrition plan there, and that's
not so much a nutrition plan. It's just more so educating on how to create your own. So not being reliant on a personal trainer.
That's a little kit. If I go through there,
if you go through there, it's just all different things. I do like carbs versus fat. What's a better option? You know, energy balance, how to overcome plateaus. Yeah. How to actually set up, how to do your nutrition plan, what you need to do for protein, carbs, and fats. What's good, you know.
At the end of that, will I have could I make up a dozen meals and be like, this is what I'm eating?
Yeah. It depends. So what I'll normally do with most of this stuff, it's all around like setting up your calories and your carbs, fats, and proteins to figure out like the actual how much do you need, and then. A big thing is using, that's really useful, is you use these apps. A very common app that I use and that I put all my clients on is called Chronometer.
Yeah, which keeps track of your steps.
So Chronometer is a nutrition log. It's like MyFitnessPal. So MyFitnessPal is probably the more popular one that most people know. Yeah. But Chronometer is just a bit more user-friendly. It's just a bit easier to use, and it tracks your micronutrients better than what than what MyFitnessPal does.
I don't want to get like, I don't want to be like calorie counting, and I'm not.
See, honestly,
I want it to be easy.
It honestly is like when you set this sort of stuff up, and I'm not saying like, because the big issue sometimes when people do their own stuff, and like I'm not saying that you can't lose weight without tracking, because you definitely can. I mean, honestly, like I said, if you just be a bit more mindful of what you eat, make sure you get like protein in every meal or just about every meal, and you're eating enough. But sometimes when you don't track, and I'm not saying you have, and tracking's not something you have to do for the rest of your life. Some people I know had such resentment towards tracking, but then when they actually started doing it, they actually started enjoying it, and they were interested about, oh, what foods have this amount. But let's say you might track for like a couple of days every so often. Like maybe you do like 2 days a week, maybe Monday, Friday, you decide to track. And then all the good thing about tracking does is sometimes when people eat, they don't realize how much they eat. Then when you actually put it down into a thing, and you go, okay, this is exactly how much I'm having. I'm having this amount of this and this and this and this. And these things are super easy to use. You scan a barcode or you type in what it is, and bang, it's up there. It's easy. You know, if you're having oats or something, you just scan the barcode, and then you put however much into a bowl, and it's there. It takes 5 seconds to do. So
how much of my food is barcoded?
So I'll be like, it doesn't have to be. You just, if you're having organic stuff, you just type in whatever the food is called. So you do that, and sometimes the reason why I recommend that for most people is because it just shows you like, and it's not something you have to do all the time. Maybe you do it every so often just to make sure you're in check. Maybe you do it once or twice, and you set yourself up. Once you've got it sorted, you stop tracking. You just follow what you've been eating. So you can do it like that. So
it's just to have the awareness. Like I've done that with budget before, sort of spend a month
honestly,
and like figure out exactly where the money's going.
It's the same. Like what you touched on just then is exactly like how I explain it to a lot of people. If you need to start viewing your calories like your bank account, and that's the big thing. Like that's where like tracking can be good, because if and I always say to people like, look, it's good to look at more so like your calories over a weekly period. So that way you don't have to stress about hitting the perfect numbers every single day. If one day you're a bit over, next day you're a bit under, doesn't matter. As long as at the end of the week you're getting, say, 18,000 calories a week or something like that, and you're hitting your carbs, fats, and proteins for the week. You're hitting that. You're good with that. So then you can be a bit over. And the thing is like, and then if you've got a big weekend plan, let's say you've got a night out with the boys or something like that, and you're going to drink and you're going to eat a bit of shit. You can plan for that or budget for that during the week by putting calories aside for that weekend that I mean, like you're not going to know exactly how much you're going to eat or drink that night. So you might say, okay, every day I'm going to eat maybe 500 calories less. By the end of the week, you've got 2,500 calories in the bank that you can play with, and then you'll still hit your total at the end of the week. So that's one way to go about it. But like, honestly,
that's not the answer I wanted. That sounds like a lot of work to me still.
So it's more simple than you think, to be honest. Like in my opinion, it's really like I think the concept of it or the idea of it sounds complicated, but then when you actually go into it and do it, like but like I said, the biggest thing is if you get that sorted, right?
And so you recommend this Chronometer app?
It's very easy to use. It's not very complicated. You get it through, you punch in your numbers, and like I said, don't stress about having to do it weekly.
See, I'm very ignorant on nutrition. I don't know, other than eggs, what food has proteins and all of this kind of thing. But are you saying I'd just put in the food and it's gonna
tell you? It'll show you how much is in it. And like the big thing is you don't have like you might do it.
Weigh my meal, or can I be like?
You don't have to weigh it. Obviously, if you do weigh it, you'll be more accurate with it. That's the big thing. That like the whole thing with like this sort of stuff, it's all about like it's all accuracy. Like I weigh pretty much every meal I have, just about. And honestly, for me, it doesn't take much effort. Like if I'm having breakfast in the morning and I'm weighing out, like I'll do like, for instance, my current breakfast is 100 ml of egg whites, 2 eggs, and then offside that on a separate bowl or a separate plate will be 75 grams of oats and 75 grams of mixed berries with 20 grams of protein powder. Right? For me, it's like, okay, put it on the scales, zero it, pour 75. Okay, put that in the microwave. Meals, 2 eggs, put it in.
What do you do with your egg yolks?
I buy liquid egg whites. So
okay.
it's easier for me because
Is
that
it
way.
like a shake then?
No, I just get frozen egg whites.
How do you eat them then though?
So basically, with what I have at the moment, so like I'll just say I have these egg whites, and unfortunately up here they don't seem to sell egg whites. I always have to get them down in Caloundra or something. When I visit my girlfriend, I'll just go to Woolies down there and I'll get these. They used to sell them at the Woolies up here, these frozen egg whites, but they don't now for some reason. If anyone knows where I can get them up in Maloney, that'd be great. So besides actual, besides obviously just because I don't like the idea of wasting the yolks, and people go, oh, just keep them and you can use them for baking and stuff. I go, well, I don't bake. I don't bake cakes and all that sort of thing, so I'm never going to use them. They're just going to be frozen yolks in my freezer. So I don't like wasting eggs either. So basically, I've always just bought these liquid egg whites, just easier. So that way, all I'll do is I'll pour them in till I get my 100 ml or 100 grams, same thing, and then I'll crack my 2 eggs in the same bowl, and I'll whisk it up, so then it becomes like scrambled eggs. Pour it into a pan, and then I'll just scramble it.
All right, so
or you can omelette it.
It's more,
You can omelette. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
So that's how I'll do that. So for me, it doesn't take any more time to put it on a scale and weigh it than it does just to get the stuff out and pour it and go, yeah, it's about 100. Crack the eggs in. So for me, it's not really. Maybe at first it feels time consuming and it feels like it's going to take the whole party a day. Honestly, I think if anything, I'd probably save. If I wasn't doing it, I might save about 5 seconds or something from that prep. But like,
look, it's just doing something new too. It's like, I'm going to learn this, and like I know how to run. If I could just run at 5 a.m, it's like I don't need to.
But see, like the big thing, like obviously, there's many ways to skin a cat. So you know, there's many ways to lose weight. But the big thing that all of them come back to, the bottom line is, and this is not news to anyone, that you have to be at a caloric deficit or at a calorie deficit. So simply meaning your energy that you burn or the calories that you burn in a day has to be greater than the calories you consume in a day. So, and then there's all these sort of things, like a big thing that I talked about in one of my later articles about like overcoming plateaus is that one thing that happens if you've been in a prolonged period of dieting or in a deficit for a long time, you'll notice your body will start to slow down, and it's a survival mechanism where you'll start to, without even knowing it, you'll start to, want to move less, you'll sit more, you'll fidget less. So you'll start burning less calories because your body's trying to conserve energy. It's trying to slow you down, like to keep you alive. It's going, we're burning too much and we're not taking enough in. So we need to slow down so that we can survive. And the whole thing is, the bottom line is your body is amazing at keeping us alive. People panic. Like, for instance, I've spoken to people before about mouth taping when you sleep to help strengthen your diaphragm, to put micropore tape. So
to force you to breathe through your nose.
Force you to breathe through your nose, and you put it on whilst you sleep. And people go, oh, what if I suffocate? I'm just go, if you do struggle to breathe, then just take it off. It's like, or you'll wake up and take it off.
So what's the benefit of that?
Well, it's so basically when you breathe through your nose, your diaphragm has to contract. So nasal breathing is reflexively tied to diaphragm contraction.
Breathe through your mouth.
No, so if I breathe through my mouth, it's breathing through my chest. So, and your diaphragm, like you'd be surprised at the things you can correct just by breathing through your nose and using your diaphragm more. So,
give me some examples.
Some examples of benefits.
The benefits of you breathing.
Right. So like a big thing is sometimes you can have stiffness or tightness through joints and that sort of thing, and like the response is going to be different from person to person. But like I've done an exercise with clients before where we test like their rotators or the length of their hamstrings when they're sitting down, and then I get them to do this breathing exercise that I got shown by Coach Eugene Teo, who's a trainer in Melbourne, or is a coach. So. Anyway, we go through this and we do such amount of reps, such amount of sets of this breathing, and then retest these positions. And like I said, it's different from person to person, but some people improve their mobility, their flexibility, from breathing better.
Interesting.
And then a big thing is like if you breathe through your chest, basically you're doing this. So if you're chest breathing, what's happening is you're breathing with what's called
lifting his shoulders is what this is.
So you're breathing with what's known as your accessory muscles. So you're breathing through your pec minor, you're breathing through your neck and your upper traps and all these muscles around here. I'm not going to go too nerdy with what all the muscles are called. But so what's happening, the biggest thing is you're facilitating reps by having this elevation of your shoulders going up and down. You're facilitating reps. And what that does is that mapping from the brain to those accessory muscles is very, very clear because they elevate and they use them to breathe. So your prime mover with your breathing is your diaphragm. That's the prime mover. That's the number one breathing muscle is your diaphragm. But then we have accessory breathing muscles of all these little muscles around here. So let's say, for instance, if I'm like elevating my shoulders, I'm breathing through my chest. My chest is rising and falling however many times a day for every breath you take. So then if I go to do, say, a side lateral where I'm raising my arm out to the side, trying to work my shoulders here, my medial deltoid, then as I'm doing that, I get a burning in my upper trap. I'm getting this sort of feeling up here, which is not where I want it. I want it down in here. The reason being that's going to fire and switch on because the brain is so used to activating that muscle because I breathe with it. So then your body gets used to using these accessory muscles instead of using what you need to use.
So your diaphragm is the one that is built to be used for it. It's the right thing to use. But you're kind of like compensating for not using it. And then it's like when you're compensating for an injury, you're creating pain and stress through in these parts of your body, which is your shoulders. And
exactly.
Your chest.
So, and the thing is like, and then obviously your diaphragm is tied in with your core. So if you've got a weak diaphragm, you've got a weak core. You got a weak core, you got a weak lower back.
It's such a weak lower back.
So, and then there's things like if I'm setting up for, say, a back squat, if I've got a barbell on my back and I'm going to squat down to the ground, and I set up, and like the thing is, you can mouth breathe if you know how to contract your diaphragm through doing that. But if I'm about to do a squat and I go, and I take a deep breath in through my mouth and I don't know how to contract my diaphragm, the first thing that's going to happen is my chest is going to lift up, which then is ultimately probably going to cause my pelvis to anteriorly tilt. So they sort of like sticking your bum out. And then I'm going to squat down. What I've got is this curvature of my spine that's put my back into an arch. And now I'm going to squat with that, lifting my chest up, and I've flared my rib cage up, which when you do that, you can feel it arches your back. So then your back has now got this curve in it, this big curve in it. And then you add, let's say you got 100 kilos on your back, and then you're squatting down to the ground with this curve in your spine, with your chest up. A lot of loading on your lower back and on your spine and in those individual discs. So it's a lot of, and then learning how to just fill that belly out through the side. Like I said, you can do it through your mouth, but to teach people to start with, and a lot of time when I do weightlifting at the gym with people, I'll always tell them to set up with a breath in through their nose. So before you start, breathe in, then tight with your abs, and then start the movement. So, because it's going to basically, when you start to strengthen your diaphragm, you're going to have a stronger core. A big thing too, as well, is it helps with vasodilation or blood flow. When you can breathe better, you get better blood flow. And it's a common occurrence that when people do regular breathing exercise and they learn to breathe through their nose, in men more so, obviously in men, it's not uncommon for them to wake up with an erection in the morning because they got good blood flow. People think that like when people take, like say, they're taking steroids, and it can be a byproduct of steroids is that you get erectile dysfunction because your red blood cell count gets larger. So your blood gets thicker. So then you can't get blood to that area as sufficient. And people think, oh, it's a lack of testosterone or whatever. But the fact is Viagra and Cialis they help with blood flow. Right. That's what they do. They're not a magical thing that it just helps blood flow better to that area. That's what those pills do. I've known people that have taken that sort of stuff before they go to the gym to get a better pump because it helps with blood flow to the muscle. Right. I mean, the fact is they're walking around training with a boner, but they're going to get a good pump in their biceps as they do it, you know? So, but that's what those things do. So then when you strengthen your breathing, you can also get better blood flow to your extremities. And it can be, when you translate it to women, so a lot of women, especially around their sort of menstrual cycle, can get random bruisings wherever. and they just wake up with bruisings here. So then sometimes better breathing can just create better blood flow to these extremities or these parts of your body, which then ultimately prevents that sort of bruising, which it can happen just randomly. So there's so much, I mean, like there's literally a whole lecture here just along breathing alone. And it's such an overlooked part that we do every day. Like it's a simple thing. Like I've gone out before and scared the shit out of my neighbours with having tape across my mouth and going for a walk.
Yeah.
Right.
So just some normal masking tape?
No, so it's micropore tape is what it's called.
Okay. You get it from the chemist?
You can get it from the chemist, yeah. So normally in any sort of first aid kit, you'll have it. So the thing with micropore tape is that it's porous. Yeah. So that like there's little holes sort of things in it, like very micro holes.
So you could still breathe through it, but
so you could still breathe through it.
So you're not.
So it's so it doesn't sweat. Like if you were to put normal masking tape on, it would sweat and it would fall off. Especially like I said to people, a very simple way. And there's like if you go on and do your study about like mouth taping, there's a numerous amount of studies that say how the benefit of it can help with sleeping, prevent snoring.
So you do it for sleeping and for a workout.
I don't really do it for a workout myself, but you could do. I mean, like people.
If you wanted to improve.
If you want to improve it, like the easiest way to do it, because you want it to be an unconscious thing.
Yeah, sure.
Like you don't want to have to always go, oh, that's right.
Okay, we're back again, and unfortunately, I have discovered that it does. I don't know why, but I'm using QuickTime Player to record it, and it looks like it stops recording at some point. So hopefully, I've jumped in quickly enough. We listened to the end of that last one. We're on the mouth breathing, but we had spoken just a little bit more beyond that. I don't know. It was still on the same topic. That's a bugger, but we haven't missed much.
No.
That's a tip if you're a podcaster. Don't use QuickTime Player for recording. You had asked me just then when we were not recording if I can put this is the topic we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not going to do that because I don't do any post-production stuff. But I was intending to say to you, first of all, please send me any links that you want me to put into the notes.
Right.
There was something specifically I was going to say. Oh, your YouTube or whatever, if you want to.
Right.
And I was going to say as well, take anything that you want from this and chop it out into little mini videos if you want to do that as well.
Yeah, I might do that.
And if that's easy to send later, because I do always listen through to these, but I will check it out. When I listen through, if I can put little notes, this topic here, etc., I will, but I'm definitely not promising it.
No, that's all right, man.
Taping mouth. I was going to say, I've got a beard. I don't know how tape's going to go, but I think I'm going to get rid of the beard soon. Anyway.
I can't remember. I think because it's only like a very thin layer across your lips.
Okay.
So it's not too bad with facial hair. So, but it's one of those things. Like it's not like I said before. Like I was saying before, the biggest thing is it's got to be an unconscious thing. You don't want to have to constantly remind yourself that you have to breathe through your nose or whatever. Yeah. So the a big reason why I like doing the mouth taping is that, or when you're sleeping more so than anything, you can use them when you train. I wouldn't recommend doing it if you were doing a very high intense workout. Like people have done them. I've seen people do them with squats before, and that's a bit full on. You can do that though. Easiest way to do it though is just when you go to bed and when you're sleeping, because basically as you are asleep, you have to breathe through your nose because your mouth is taped up, and that'll slowly strengthen that. And that's probably the easiest way, or the simplest way to strengthen your diaphragm without having to do really any work for it. You just force yourself to sleep. And I don't know, like I've contemplated doing it just to help prevent snoring as well, because I know I snore. My girlfriend tells me
if I do that.
me that I snore. So, so I don't know if per se if taping your mouth would stop you from snoring, because I've always believed that snoring comes out of your mouth. When you snore, you can't snore out of your nose, as far as I'm aware. So it's always sort of like with your mouth open on your back or whatever. So I think having your mouth taped, I mean, it might be a weird thing to be like, oh, good night, darling, and then go to bed, sort of thing. With your mouth taped, going, oh, now I can't talk to you for the rest of the night, sort of thing. But like something like if people are uncomfortable doing that, or they think, oh, I'll suffocate, I can't do it. You just put it on whilst you're watching TV for a half an hour or so before you go to bed, or have it whilst you're reading a book before you go to bed. You
See,
can
that
do
one I
those
like.
sort of
That's
things.
very simple. And so then I improve my diaphragm. That's going to improve my blood flow and my core.
Yeah. So like it's all tied in. The biggest thing is like your whole body, everything's tied in together. I think it's like, you know, you only got to look at a picture of like, or the human body in like with the muscular and skeletal system and all that sort of thing. And you just see every muscle, tendon, it's all tied in. And same thing with your internals as well. Everything is tied in, everything works together. So it's a very well designed or well thought out or structured or however you want to put it, developed system, whatever. So it's that sort of thing. So once I've done a walk around with my mouth taped. And honestly, one thing I noticed, I mean, it was a bit bizarre walking past the neighbours with your mouth taped and they go, morning, and you just go and you just wave to them. They think, oh, he's a bit weird. But then when I came back, I noticed when I took it off, I just started to instinctively just breathe. I was down there, I think I was putting weights on a bar, and I just noticed I was breathing through my nose really well. Yeah. And I also think it can actually help. I mean, I don't know if there's any proof to this, but I think to some level, it could help with people that get congestion and problems with their nose. I think it's a similar thing that if you don't use it, you lose it.
Sure.
If you don't normally use your nose to breathe properly, you only get like a little bit and you mainly breathe through your mouth, and this doesn't work as strong. So then if you were to breathe through your nose more, that it would strengthen just your nasal passageway.
Sure. Yeah.
And another thing that's really useful that I used, or I don't have at the moment, but I want to pick up some more, is nasal strips.
Okay.
So they're the ones that you see a lot of sportsmen use, and they advertise for snoring. They're basically these little, you can get them from a chemist. I don't think, no chemist up here has them, but you go down a Chemist Warehouse or any normal chemist that has a decent amount of stuff will normally sell them. And basically they're just these sticky tab things, and you can get them from different places. But you put them across the bridge of your nose here, and what it does is it opens up your airway. A lot of you see road racers or like Formula One drivers will have them as they're out driving to basically help them breathe better.
Yeah, right.
But the biggest thing is it opens up your nasal passageway and it allows for a better contraction of your diaphragm because there's less blockage and you can get more air in. Because if you like just take your hands there and you like sort of spread that or like open up your passageway and you breathe.
That's very noticeable.
You can breathe much better.
Putting my fingers on my cheeks and just pulling away from my nose a little bit.
And that's what these do. So when I used to do this when I slept, I used to put the mouth taping on and then I put my nasal strips on. And I used to train as well with nasal strips.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be a bit of a pain if you're sweating because then they can fall off. And like, you go into a gym with this strip across your nose. I mean, the ones I used to use were like clear ones. They weren't extremely noticeable.
These days you could just put a COVID mask over your face.
Exactly.
And
people wouldn't even really care. Exactly. So, but so that's a real like easy fire way. Like honestly, I think mouth taping and just, I think the first step of that sort of thing is just to be more conscious of breathing through your nose. Yeah. Like because honestly the fact is, the reason why I did mouth taping when I walk is that everyone goes, oh, can't you just hold your mouth closed and do it? It's like, well, yeah, you can, but the fact is you might be more tempted to start breathing through your mouth. Whereas if I've got it taped, I've got no option but to breathe through my nose. And the thing is, your body is not stupid. It wants, like, the body's goal is to keep you alive. That's the end. Like, that's why when we get injured, when we come back, it normally comes back stronger. Maybe not all the time, but like the bone, and if it heals properly, it heals stronger. It has an extra protective layer around it or whatever.
I got kicked. I did Aikido when I was younger, and I got this huge kick to the ribs. I've got this little nodule on my ribs where it recovered.
Right. Yeah. Well, I had the same thing. Like when I was younger, I used to race motocross, and biggest injury I've ever had was I had a laceration on my liver. So I crashed and I split my liver. Whoa. About a 3 centimeter like cut in my liver.
Whoa.
So and when it healed, I luckily didn't need surgery. If it had been much bigger, like only a centimeter or two bigger, they would have had to stitch me up. But and when I had an ultrasound afterwards, I don't think this was a permanent thing, but at the time they said like I had an extra layer sort of around my liver where it's like an extra protective layer or something. Yeah. So when you are breathing, your body's, when you take away your mouth, you're not just going to sit there and suffocate. Your body's going to go to, oh, I can't breathe. And if you panic that much, then you just take it off. It's like people, I can't do it. But then it's like you experiment with little things. If you are too afraid of doing it whilst you sleep because you're worried that you're going to stop breathing in the night or whatever, then, and the big thing too, you'll wake yourself up. People who have sleep apnea, you know, when they go to sleep and they start like literally stop breathing, their body will go, oh, we're dead. And they'll wake yourself up, sort of thing, and then you'll wake up in a panic or whatever. Same thing, if you were doing that and you were really struggling, your body would wake yourself up. You wouldn't just and then just die in your sleep. So, but then for anyone who's worried about that, I always just say just put it on for half an hour, watching a movie, doing computer work, whatever. You know, or like if you're out for an easy paced walk. I mean, I probably wouldn't. I mean, like if you're one who's not bothered about, you know, being sort of publicly looking a bit odd with that sort of thing. I mean, maybe, yeah, it would look a bit weird if you're walking around Brisbane City or something with mouth taping past all these people.
Yeah.
Everyone's thinking, what's going on with him? Is this some sort of weird trick?
That's interesting as well, because we're talking about like social anxiety, not exactly, but worrying about what other people think. I just remembered when I first started working out here, like I was so uncomfortable with the idea of people seeing me working out because it seemed weird. But now that I do it, that doesn't even occur to me at all. Yeah. And I was comfortable to do it because I was doing it, like, you know, under your instruction and with Nick. But yeah, I only just remembered that. That was like, I worried about what would people think, which is a thought that never occurs to me anymore. Right. What does occur to me is when a car's coming past, I'm like, I'm having a rest instead of in the middle of something. I want them to see me working out, not resting.
Yeah. But it's funny, like, I think people get like that with a lot of things. Like,
totally.
I used to get told, and it was funny how I got told by a client of mine who said to me, like, we were talking about like public displays of affection with your partner, and how, like, I mean, like, and I think it's more so because I remember a client of mine who's single said to me, he goes, oh, I hate watching couples make out in public, or they kiss and they're sitting in each other's lap and they're doing that sort of thing. I was like, oh, it's just, you know, it's disgusting, it's gross, they all look at me, sort of thing. But then someone said to me, you go, oh, you know, the only reason they're saying that is because they're single. Because they don't have someone, and yeah, they might say, oh, and like, okay, and yeah, they might not like it. But the fact is that they're saying that it's more, they notice it more, or it bothers them more because they don't have anyone. And so, and then like, because I've had like, similar to what you said, like I'll run around the street with my shirt off, no big deal, I don't really care. You know, I mean, I'd walk around the shopping centre in my underwear, you know, I'd be like, oh, whatever.
You walk around the shopping centre?
I don't actually walk around the shopping centre, but I would, like, you know, I'd browse a shop and do it. It wouldn't bother me to do that too much. I'm like, oh, you know, I've got a pretty good body. It doesn't bother me to be in my jocks. I've got good legs and that. Especially if I was lean and that sort of thing. I wouldn't care. I'd walk around bloody however I wanted to. You know, I don't mind people sort of staring and going, oh, that sort of thing, because it wouldn't bother me in that sense. But I noticed with myself, and I didn't think I was like this, that when I sort of first started going out with my girlfriend, probably not so until more recently, I used to have an issue with that public displays of affection. Of like, you know, to the fact of even holding hands or like her kissing me in public, like a quick little peck didn't bother me. But if she wanted to do something a bit more, or if it was whatever.
Like if you both got your shirts off and doing the big...
but like if it was just public displays of affection, I would suddenly notice, like if we were in a pool and she like jumped on me and we're just hugging and that sort of thing, I'd suddenly just feel very conscious that everyone was looking at me.
But it is just because it's not what you're used to doing, right?
But like
honestly, now it doesn't bother you.
It doesn't bother me at all now.
Yeah.
It's like a big middle finger. It's just like, you know, it's normal.
Isn't that funny though? Like that's just like there's some kind of self-image we have of like what I normally do is normal to people. Like, and if I'm going to do something outside of that, I'm probably going to get judged by it.
Well, but I think it's the thing. You worry, like for no reason, you worry what other people think. And then like a big thing too, it's so stupid to be like that because you think, oh, well, you know, if you're away on holiday with your partner or something and you're in a pool and you want to kiss and you want to be close or whatever, you're probably never going to see these people again. So why the hell do you care that even if they think, oh, good, look at that, oh yeah, you know, or whatever. They just think, oh, they're a bit too lovey-dovey or whatever. It's like, you know, it's like mentally, you should be giving a big middle finger to everyone and saying, I don't give a shit what you think. I'm going to do this. Or if you're out training in public and you want to train at a park and that sort of thing, and you want to take your shirt off and you want to, you know, do this sort of thing, then, you know, who gives a shit? If one person, the fact is, I would find it very rare that someone would walk past and be like, oh, you're a wanker or something like that. And call out something.
It's not your issue if someone does.
It's like totally honestly, it's that same sort of thing. It's like, who gives a shit? Who gives a flying fuck? Excuse my language. If someone has an opinion of you, you know, it's like, well, it's like, okay, like the only issue is if like they call that out and then you start a fight with them because you get offended that they said something. But you know, like it's that sort of thing. If someone says something, you just go, oh yeah, cheers, mate, and then you keep going. Sort of thing. It's like you don't pay it any attention, and it's you let it roll off your back, and you keep doing that. You're doing this because A, it makes you feel good, and B, you know, it's for the physical and mental benefits that you get from it. If you spend your whole time doing it thinking someone's looking at me, and honestly, that's a big thing, and that's why a lot of people like coming and training with me, especially at my gym, because it's a private studio. It's a one-on-one environment. There's nobody else around. So a lot of people will come and do that because they don't like the gym environment. They don't like, because again, they fear, especially if they're overweight, they think everyone around them is going to be judging them.
Well, also, like, I mean, I did go to the gym for a little while, years back, but prior to that, all my life, it's like, I'm not someone who works out at all. And people who are at the gym are, and they're all pretty buff, and it's just sort of like, I don't fit in there, is a story that I have.
Yeah. But it's funny because like, a lot of people think like that.
Yeah.
And like, okay, yeah, you're going to get the odd dickhead who's going to be in there, who's going to be like, oh my God, look at them. Oof, they don't know what they're doing or whatever. But like, I think it's changed a lot now to probably what it used to be, because I find that more people now are supportive. I honestly miss working in a gym or just going to a gym. I miss the social aspect of it as well, especially through COVID and that, when people got that taken away from them. That's a big part of a lot of people's life, is going to the gym, meeting Sally and Greg and whoever else is there, and being like, oh, catching up with them, and oh, do you want to train today, mate? And talking to them about, you know, having like a therapy session as they're training and discussing their issues, or just catching up. And like, the fact is that when you go to a gym, and then let's say you're doing a big lift, having people around you, then you get a little group that notices you're going for a PB, and they come over and they're like, let's fucking go. And they start screaming, and you get this encouragement. And then you finish and you're high-fiving people and fist-bumping people, and you feel great. And there's that support. I mean, not all gyms are going to have that, but a lot of places do. And that's such a cool thing that I think a lot of people miss out on when they do. Or if you go with a group of friends, maybe you train with 3 or 4 people, and then you get that support, and then maybe they start cheering you on, then other people notice, and then you walk past someone, they said, oh, great lift, dude, I saw you before. You get a little fist bump, you're like, oh, cheers.
Cool.
And one thing I'm a big advocate of more so now is just like, is complimenting people more.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things. I read a quote that said, like, it's like, you should compliment people more, so you'll hardly remember that you did it, but the person you said it to may never forget it.
Yeah.
And it's something, it's so, like, it's not a big deal. Like, and we feel like we can't compliment people who look good because, A, if it's a girl, they're going to think we're hitting on them. Yeah. Like, you know, if you just go, if you saw someone and just went, oh, you know, like, it might be weird to say, oh, you smell really nice, or something, and they go, I've got a boyfriend. You go, I'm not hitting on you, I'm just saying something. Or, you know, oh, you look really good.
Yeah,
or
so
I like your shoes.
About it being received the wrong way, and it does happen.
Yeah,
and we're like over. But you're so right. I have a friend, and she is just the best. For like, whenever, like, you know, we walk along and just she'll be like, wow, I love your shoes, to a random woman walking past, and it just, she goes around and just like, there's this ripple of people feeling good.
I mean, like, the odd person is going to be like, what the fuck? And so they go, oh, okay. And but then, like, I guarantee they probably walk away and go, oh, these are nice shoes. And you go, oh, that's cool. I mean, I'm glad people notice that. Yeah. It's like, you know, I mean, the bottom line is people, I think, at heart, and I don't think, no matter what people say, love being complimented. You know, like, I mean, I know, I mean, I'll be honest, I know I do. Yeah. Like, if someone says to me or comments on Instagram or says to me going, oh, you know, you're looking good. Oh, look how much you've changed. Look at your shoulders. Look at your chest. You know, that's awesome. Or like, you know, oh, I like your shorts. I like your thing. I mean, I'm not a big person for, you know, worrying what people think about what I wear. And people like, you know, saying my fashion choice or whatever. Or if people going out going, oh, you know, like, I don't know, let's say you've been on holiday and you got a nice tan going, oh, I love your tan. Look how tan you are. Like, oh, is that natural sort of thing? And everyone's like, oh, yeah. And then, oh, you look so great. Makes you look good. Or it's like, oh, I like your haircut. Oh, I like your shorts. Oh, those new shoes and all that sort of thing. It's like the smallest thing. Or like, oh, you look happy today.
Totally. This week, my little girl had a bit of a meltdown one morning. Didn't want to go to school and took her in later because then she just had a bit of time. She just needed a bit of time.
Yeah.
I was like, do you want to go in? I was like, yeah. And we were barely late. I bumped into another mum there. I was talking to her. She just said, "Oh, like good on you with that. That was really good." And I needed it that week because it's been a shaky week for my daughter, and I've been beating up on myself so much about I'm not doing a good job with parenting here. Yeah. And then just the tiniest little thing that she said, like I've told her this story, I've done this thing, and she's like, "Good on you doing that."
Yeah.
Having it come from someone else saying that, it lifted me so much. Not just lifted me, it moved me from where I'd been just feeling awful about myself as a parent to go, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I mean, I had a similar thing. Like I had so my coach, he lives in New Zealand. And I used to go train with him regularly. And I do miss those sessions because, you know, it was a good vent for me as well. I'd get shit off my chest and we'd get a good session in and I'd leave feeling pretty good, even though it might have only been 30 minutes or 45 minutes or something. But, and he knows, like, obviously he knows I'm a PT as well. I'm a coach myself. And, so basically I'm almost at a stage now where I'm going to start dieting for my next show, which will be in October, in Queensland or in Brisbane. And, so we've sort of started putting a plan together. And I was on the phone with him this day to discuss where we're going. And I hadn't caught up to him since, like with COVID, I didn't see him since probably January or February 2020. I started speaking to him maybe, 2 months ago or something, or maybe a little bit longer than that. And then he asked me, he said, asked me how just things were going. And he went, oh, how's your business going? How's work? And I said, oh, you know what? It's really good. I've just bought a new machine and that sort of thing. I'm decking my gym out and it's looking really good. And he said to me, he's like, oh, you know what? He said, you should be really proud of what you've done. He goes, I'm really impressed with how you've evolved your business and how you've done everything. He goes, and it's so awesome to see. And same thing, I didn't even know that I needed it.
Yeah.
And then when he said that, because I very much see Mike as being like almost a father figure to me. I hadn't had the best dad in the world. And my dad would never say something like that per se. So when he come across and he was like, you're doing a good job. You've improved so much. Not we're talking, physically and everything. Financially, how your business is set up, how you structure it. It was just such a cool thing. Yeah. And saying that, I didn't even realize I needed that affirmation or needed that sort of praise. But same thing. I just felt so more. I felt great. I felt motivated. I felt I'm because you're always going, what else can I be doing? I need to be doing more. Maybe I could be giving more to people. I need to get my website going. I need to be doing this. I need to be offering this. I need to get more people.
Yeah, and it's good to do that. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it's that sort of thing. Done. It's like we said before. It's so I think you need to be constantly wanting to improve. Yeah. But then it's that sort of thing where you got to take time to stop and you go, you know what? For me, it was when I started doing PT. I was struggling at this gym. Rent was $260 a week, and I was probably earning maybe $300 a week, paying $60 or $70 of fuel to drive down to Sippy Downs from Mullaney. Yeah. I was barely breaking even. Yeah. Anything extra I had went towards food. Yeah. I couldn't afford to go outside and take a piss, let alone go hang out with mates.
They charge you for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I get your point.
So, but it was just it was insane, and then you don't look back at that often because you're always trying to go further. You don't stop and go, look where you started. Yeah, man. Whether it's business or whatever it is, relate that to however you want to relate it. Yeah. But it's just that thing. It's like we said earlier, it's just taking the time to reflect and just be like, shit, I'm so much further than what I am.
Totally.
But now I'm going to keep working more.
And especially, I think too, in the kind of, the kind of story you're talking about of just going, like back then, you had an idea of where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
And you've, I assume, not only done that, but gone further than what you would have imagined already.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I can remember when I was working there, I used to think it would be awesome to have 5 clients a day, every day, 5 days a week, you know, and now I can top 8 to 10 clients a day. You know, I can have like 30 plus sessions in a week, you know, and I used to think 25 or 20 sessions was a shitload. Now, if I get 5 sessions a day, it feels like a quiet day. It's like, oh shit, that's a pretty easy day. Whereas back in the day, I was like, I'm so busy, I've got 5 sessions now. So it's perspective, and it's that, you know, we forget that we had these little humble beginnings, and it was just a dream. And the thing is, like, a very common thing, and like, I think this helps. It's always helped me a lot on down days and that sort of thing. And you can, like, I remember telling this to a client of mine she's not a client of mine anymore. She's moved away now, but she's in her 70s, or she's in her 70s,
wow.
She's mid-70s, right? And she was married for 40 years, and it ended. He divorced her, he ended it. And she was devastated, as you can imagine. At that stage, she's figuring that this is her partner for life, that she's with him to the end. So, and I was always trying to pick her up. Every time she'd come around, I was always trying to help her and make her feel better, you know, and that's why she was coming to me. She was exercising to try to just get her endorphins going a little bit and just have her feel a bit better about herself. And I told her a quote that I heard from someone, I can't remember who, and it's probably heard it a million times, was that your worst day is somebody else's best day. And it's 100% true. Like there's someone, like when you're struggling and you're having a shitty day and you feel like the world's against you, there's someone out there who would just love to have that day of, like, maybe your bad day is one, like a few people cancelled on you, or you didn't get what you wanted to get for work, or maybe you had some problems, or like, you know, maybe there's issues with the kids. There's people who would love to have a family, to have kids, just to have them, even if they were being little shits on a certain day and they were giving you headaches. They want to have they want to have a family, they want to have kids, they want to have a stable job where, I mean, they can afford to lose a few people or a job or whatever it might be, or not land this deal. So, and they're struggling and they're in the depth. And that's the big thing. There's always people who are worse off than you. I think a lot of the times, especially when we have down days, we think that we're the most hard done by people in the world, and why is everything against me, and this could not be any worse. But then again, it's perspective. I guarantee you don't have to go very far. And that's the thing. People think that no one relates to them. You could throw a rock and hit someone who relates to you. You know, like people think that they're alone in all this sort of shit, and it's just ridiculous to think that. To think that no one else gets how you feel. That, like, you think you're the only person who's under the pump with work or uni or whatever it might be, or fucking, I don't know. Or, you know, that you're the only person who gets depressed, or you're the only person who feels like they haven't got their life together, or who has struggles, or who fights with their partner or their best friend or whatever it might be. I mean, like, there's so many people that relate to that. So, and to think you're alone in that is just ridiculous. I mean, like, there's a big wide world out there, and there is it's like people say, like, there's things that if you've got a roof over your head, a job, a car, you're like the richer, you know, population sort of thing. You know, you're richer than, like, I don't know what the statistics are, probably like 80%. Yeah, exactly.
Easily. And
so, and then, like, it's that sort of the simple things that we take for granted, but like, oh no, I want a new car. Or my you know, house isn't big enough. Or my clothes aren't new enough. They're not, you know, or the labels aren't what I want them to be. You know, or whatever. My followers, I haven't got as many as this prick who lives down the road, or whatever, you know? So it's just like, again, it's just taking the time. I think enough people need to do it. Like, and I love hearing stories of when people tell me, they go, this is what I was, this is what I am now. That sort of thing is just like, or like when I hear from clients, when they say things like, oh, you know, when I used to do, or like I had these set of stairs at work, and every time I walked up them, I was puffing and I couldn't breathe. Now I run up them and I'm fine.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. So it's that, like, it can be something as small as that.
Yeah.
It can be something as small as like, oh, you know, I used to wake up tired. Now I wake up with more energy. Or I used to feel achy all the time, but now I feel good. Or like something as simple as that. Like I used to walk up these little stairs and I would always be puffing, or I'd never walk to the top of my driveway. Now I can walk up and back like 15 times and it's fine. So it's just, you know,
and
perspective, I think.
Yeah. And I want to wind up soon.
Yep.
And I made, and I just changed it down to 4, for determination. And this is my, so I'll go through them with you and see if you agree.
Yeah.
But the first one there is to have the why. So this is how to be determined, how to, like, for working out, but for anything in your life, I think.
Absolutely.
Have the why. And that, I think, is, so write these down. Number 1 is have the why. And if you agree, we should do on that one. Yeah. And that then, what is the why? Well, it can be something like, I don't want to be out of breath when I walk up the stairs. Or it can be something like, I want to have 5 clients a day. You know, it doesn't, like, it's a goal.
Yeah, and like the good sort of analogy that I like having, it's like, you know, when you have a good why or a strong place to go, sort of thing, is you think of it like you can have the best plane in the world and you can stock it full with all the best stuff, but if you don't have a destination, somewhere to land, you just spend your whole time flying around with nowhere to go. So your why is your destination, sort of thing. If you've got no destination, then all you're gonna do is just float around with nothing. You can have like if it's like, say you want to lose weight, okay? So if I said to you, like, okay, you know, if I said, okay, what's your goals? And you went, I want to lose weight. And I said to you, okay, why? And you went, I don't know, because I want to. Yeah. Because I got told that I need to.
Underlying reason,
there needs
not
to be
just a goal.
Exactly. There needs to be a reason behind it. Like, you know, for instance, if you say to me, you know, like, you go, okay, what are your goals around competing or whatever? Or what are your goals for this year? You know, I could tell you right now, goal is to step on stage, to win my categories that I go into, or place, or at least get first call out, and then to eventually become competitive enough to go for my pro card. And that sort of thing, and ultimately to be better than what I was last time I stood on stage. Yeah, that's my. I mean, I very clearly could tell you what I want to do. I could tell you like what my goals would be for the next 5 years for whatever. I'm not saying you have to have a 5-year plan.
What's your why with that?
My why? Yeah. With competing or So it's more of a sort of personal thing. Like I'm a competitive person, and that's why I fell into bodybuilding, because I was doing fitness and I was training and I was doing it to put on muscle. And then I sort of, for me, it was like, oh, well, why are you trying to put on muscle, sort of thing. And like my why became competing. It sort of became that's why I wanted to compete, because like I'm a competitive person and I like competition. Okay. Like I like having the competition.
That feels good. That makes you happy.
It feels good, yeah.
That's enough.
Like for me, like, okay, some people want to just go to the gym and they want to put on a bit of muscle because they want to look a certain way, and that's great. Like I want to look a certain way, but I want to look a certain way so I can place first at this sort of thing. You know, I compete because I enjoy the challenge of competing. I compete because having that clear goal, and like when you have such a clear goal of, and at the end of 16 weeks, you're going to step on stage and you're going to want to look good because you're going to be in front of an auditorium of however many people. Or, you know, like my second show in at the Nationals this year is meant to be in Melbourne at a fitness expo. So you've got to stand in the middle of an expo posing on stage. I don't want people to walk past and be, he's out of shape. I want people to walk past and go, oh fuck, look at him, he looks good, sort of thing. So it's like I want to put on an impressive show. I want to present what I look like, and I want to enjoy myself when I do it. I love the process more than the end result. I enjoy the process, and I think it's a big thing people need to go to. I'll be a liar if I said I don't want to come away with medals and the accolation of congratulations, Kurt, you've won, and that sort of thing. A big driving factor for me, one image I have in my head that really pushes me, that is so clear for me, and I don't know why this is a driving factor for me, but it just is. I've seen other people do it. I've never had it at a show, but I have this image of placing first, coming off stage and having a big embrace with my girlfriend, and that sort of thing, and that image of that, and like her being stoked for me, and me being just absolutely just, and that sort of thing, that image in my head, I would say drives me more than anything. Yeah. Like it's that sort of, I want to win, but then it's the fact of, I mean, like I've got a photo on my Instagram, and it's my screensaver on my phone at the moment of when I got off stage and placed second, and then when I went back and met my family afterwards. Yeah. I met my brother and his girlfriend, and my older brother's girlfriend, and my mum, and I was there, and then sharing that moment, and just that feeling afterwards, and then I could because I've never had a partner when I've been prepping. I've always been single when I'm prepping, and I'm not gonna say because I know how I get agitated, I get pissed off, so I'm not gonna say that it's going to be easy going through that sort of period. I might become an unbearable asshole to be around. But at the end of all that work and that sort of thing, and then to get the result, and then to have that feeling, and then to be backstage, and to give my girlfriend a big hug, and to give my mum a hug, and if my brother or someone was there, to see them and just have that embrace, and just have that feeling of just celebrating this victory with people it's probably the part of that whole thing I'm more psyched about, and meeting having my girlfriend's parents there, who I get on great with. I'd love to have them see me compete, who have never seen me compete before, seen photos, and that whole idea, and my girlfriend's sister, and all this sort of thing, just having them there, having everyone there to see that.
That's awesome. No, the way that you talk about that's really clear. It's
so there's passion. Exactly. That's what drives me. I've got that very clear vision in my head, and that a lot of people don't have, and that's what competing does for me. It gives me that real reason to work hard. Where if I felt like if it was taken away from me, I'd lose a reason to train. And I'd lose a reason to want to wake up every morning and put the effort in, even when I'm in off season and I haven't even decided to do a show. It's all about eventually you're going to step on stage, so you want to look better. I want people to see me and go, oh shit, he's improved since I last saw him. When he was on stage last time, he definitely looks bigger, better, more shredded, whatever it might be. So just
Cool. Number 2.
Yes.
This was 2 and 3, but I decided to combine them. And this is maybe more related to working out, but also I don't know too, to be honest. I find this good for a lot of things. It's make it routine, and morning is king. Just sort of that you need to make that commitment. For me, I think that's put it in the calendar. And then morning is where you tend to always have more time, because if you do that, I think for me, then I'm eating into my nighttime Netflix time. I'm going to need to go to bed a bit earlier, which I don't mind actually losing a little bit of that in my life.
So, and it's a big thing. I find you have less excuses in the morning. Because it's as soon as you wake up, you just roll out of bed, you chuck your kit on, whatever it might be, and then you go for a run, or you go to the gym, or you start a workout.
And a workout is such a good way to start the day. It's so good.
Well, that's what I mean. It's you starting the day with an accomplishment as well. It's you're starting the day with achieving something. And that can set you up for whatever else comes along. You started the day, and then when you the best feeling for me is you finish doing whatever it might be in the morning, whether it's cardio or something. And then when you finished, you're all sweaty, and you take your cut, and then you're in the shower, and then you step out of a hot shower, and that feeling of after you've had a shower, and you just feel, you're just oh, I've done it, I've finished it. Now I've got my rest of my day, So. Do
you meditate at all?
I don't. I used to. I mean, honestly, I think I should. Because I think it would help me get out of my head. Because back in the day...
But actually, working out does too, right?
It does. That's I remember hearing about different forms. Meditation doesn't have to be cross-legged in a field with your hands in your lap in a certain pose. I know that...
present.
It could be... honestly, I remember... So a book I'm reading at the moment is about Bruce Lee's philosophy. And there was a thing when his daughter who wrote it was talking about I think he used to meditate when he would go for a run in the morning. He would go for a run, and as he was running, that was his moment of meditation. Or he would walk around the garden at home, and he would meditate whilst moving, sort of thing. And that was his moment when he would do it.
That's just about being present with your body. Probably not listening to music then.
No, I'd say in that case you wouldn't be, unless it was just white noise stuff. It was just whatever it might be. So I think because I think the big thing that puts people off is they think, oh, it's the yoga pose, it's the sitting down in a, next to a quiet running river. And, maybe that's a part of it. Maybe people enjoy that aspect of it, or the solitude, but like I've done it before. I used to use that app, Headspace, yeah. I used to use that, and that helped me because, like, honestly, I did it in a past relationship. Was the reason why I started it, because I found myself just stressing about her too much because she was a bad influence, or she was just wasn't right. So, and I used to just get in my head too much of like, well, should I stay, should I go, or should, what should happen here? I get in my head too much. So then I found that I need to get outside of my head because I'm thinking too much. So then I used to do that Headspace thing, and I found that guided meditation was good. It's sort of, especially to start, it's so hard. Like, I don't think people realize how hard meditation is, to be able to sit there or do whatever and not have your mind fixate on something.
Totally.
Because it's like, and they say, I've heard things that say, you should let thoughts come into your head, but then don't grab them, just let them pass by, sort of thing. It's but sitting there and going and not worrying about your to-do list and going, when I finish this, I've got to go do this, I've got to go do this.
But an analogy that's often used is like working out. It's like, this is the muscle, you need to train it to not get stuck on those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it gets easier over time.
Definitely.
Now, I just wanted to, two things pop in my head. Vipassana is just fantastic. That's those 10-day meditation retreats. I've done that a couple of times in my life. And the first one was absolutely amazing. But cool, like working, I think I do want to, look at this, I'm not quite there. I need my why, but I think I do want to start a 5 a.m. run, even if I need to do nutrition stuff to lose weight.
A big thing too is just you got to set yourself something achievable to start with. If you say I'm going to go out for an hour, every day, then it becomes
an hour every morning. I think I can easily do that, but I'm not quite. I can tell I'm not quite there where I'm going. I think I'm going to.
Honestly, it's going to be about just showing up. That's the hardest part. Just like waking up in the morning, putting your kit on, and the actual run itself or the walk itself, whatever you do, is not the bad part. It's just starting.
Yeah, you're right.
It's putting one foot in front of the other to start. Because once you start, you're fine.
Okay, cool. So that's just start. And that's part of Make It Routine as well. There's one other thing I wanted to say about this. I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before, but my firstborn daughter, her mother's in Brisbane. Monday mornings at 6:30, I'm meeting her halfway. And so we've just had a lovely weekend together, and I'm saying goodbye to my daughter, which always hurts so much. And it's really, that's such a challenge. And I'm so grateful to get back here just in time to do that workout. It's the best possible thing I could do to start my week after saying goodbye to my daughter. Anyway, number 3 is proud but unsatisfied, which appreciate what you have and appreciate your achievements. That seems really key.
I think it is, because I think the worst thing that could happen to a person is just they become comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with liking the life you have, and maybe you're a person who's got a steady job and who's got a family, and that's enough for you, and that's fine. If that's what you want from life and you're happy with that, then that's great. There's always going to be the 1%ers out there who I think who are people like athletes or entrepreneurs or whatever, that always want more, that always are going to be okay, well, I've achieved this, now what's next? I've achieved this, now what's next? And even for those people, it might be about slowing down. It might be about just going, okay, we'll just take a second to smell the roses.
Some appropriate balance there. I kind of think of a graph quite often, of just personal development, and it goes up, and then it plateaus for a while. Might even go down for a bit, but you sort of I think it's healthy to have those periods of rest and integration of what you've learned and grown as well. And I mean, I know, I love comfort, but I also, there's a better word than that, just being content. It's really, that's a wonderful feeling to be content and appreciate what you have.
I mean, I think if it's like no matter what you've achieved, if you've achieved something and you can stand, say, in front of the mirror and be able to look at yourself and be like, you know what, I'm happy. I'm happy with what I have, and that sort of thing. I mean, it doesn't mean that you stop trying to get more.
We always change. That's part of being...
But to be like, and that's the thing. Like, I think the thing to remember is that nothing is ever like, how do I phrase it? Nothing is like certain, and nothing lasts forever. Like, you know, the fact of like maybe living where you live, or having your kids around all the time. I mean, the fact is, you know, for yourself as well, is like one day they're going to grow up, they're going to move out, they're going to do their own thing, and that'll be a challenging part in your life, I would imagine. You know, I'm not a parent, I don't have kids myself, I don't know what it's like.
Oh, definitely.
But like having them leave home and start their own thing, you're always going to worry about them. So that's... Yeah,
good friend of mine, his son's just gone to university and living in Brisbane, and it's devastating. Yeah. You know, it's like, wow, what's...
And it's like the thing is like, and the thing is like, you just got to, like with anything, it's like, you got to treasure the moments that you have, because like, I mean, even us right now sitting here having this conversation, it's, you know, being able to do this now might not be how it's going to be, you know, at another point. So just remembering, or just knowing that like nothing, and like, I think like it can make people depressed thinking that, going, oh, well, you know, nothing lasts forever. But that's the same in good or bad. Any bad situation is not going to be forever. It's like, best quote I've ever heard in my life has always been that pain is temporary. Whatever that might be, pain in the gym, pain whatever, it's going to end eventually. Pain of heartbreak, pain of losing the job, or whatever it might be. It's going to suck for, you know, it might suck for a day, a week, a month, a year, 10 years, or whatever. But it will subside. It will eventually end. And same thing happens with, you know, like good moments. Like, I mean, and that's where I think, and I'm not saying this to be doom and gloom, but I'm just saying, like, it's more of a reason to treasure the good times, to even stop when you're like out with your kids or with your friends or whatever, to be able to stop and just in your own head think, this is awesome, you know, this is great. Like, I'm loving life right now. I'm out here, I'm having fun, you know, I'm having a good time, we're laughing, we're joking, and that sort of thing. And it's like, I'm real happy at the moment. To take, instead of just let that moment just pass by without acknowledging how you're feeling in that moment. Like, I know I'm probably sounding super, you know, whatever at the moment, like however you want to quote, like I might think, oh, that's a bit girly to say or whatever. But
I don't think that.
But
it's sounded very wise.
So, but it's that sort of thing. It's just, I think not enough people are in the moment.
Totally.
So, and just to be able to be present, it's just like, well, I know we've probably said it like 50 times now.
Well, no, and actually that's point number 4 is be present. And yeah, it's so important and it goes everywhere. And I fleshed that out specifically for the working out thing of one thing at a time. You're just doing the thing that you're doing. And then I also added, I don't know if we explicitly said this, but I realized for me this is helpful. It's a set time that I'm going to do it for, and it will end.
Yeah.
And I think that's the little mind hack that I need to just kind of tell my brain it's okay.
It's the same thing when you go to work. Like, I can remember I used to do, hardest job I've ever done was brickies labouring. And that for me is got to be up there with being one of the most physical jobs in the world. I'm not saying the most physical job, but it's a tough gig.
For sure.
So, and you know, like when I was doing that, I was 16, 17, boss was an asshole. You got sworn at and called all sorts of things, and you had to work ridiculously hard. Wheelbarrows of mud are not light, especially when you're 16. And it was just heavy shit. And then you're getting like, oh, if I was your age, I'd be running laps around you and that sort of thing. It's just kind of, I mean, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. And so, but doing that was just like, it was such a brutal thing. And I used to have to psych myself up. My boss used to pick me up. I would literally be, and you know, again, at a risk of sounding very sensitive here, I was being near tears because I hated it so much.
Yeah.
I had so much resentment for going to work. Yeah. But I used to have to say, look, like on my last day of work, like the night before I was going, like let's say a Thursday night, I used to say to myself, this time tomorrow night, it'll be all done. This time tomorrow night, it's like before you know it, you'll be back in bed, you'll be looking at the ceiling, and you'll be going, it's finished. It's done. Like before you know it, it's finished, okay? All you gotta do is just get up, don't be a bitch about it. Just get it done, and then it's done. It's like, it's that sort of, it's that self-talk. It's just trying to just go, look, and I'm a big advocate of positive self-talk. I know people think sometimes it's like, oh, well, thinking positive is not going to get shit done. It's like, okay, like, let's say worst case scenario of something like you lost your job or you failed something. And then like there's a lot of negativity around those things. But to be able to try to find, like, and I know it's hard to be able to say, okay, well, like what are the positives from this situation? Like to try to scrounge any positive aspect from something as bad as that. If it's the fact that you lost your job, then it's going, okay, well, did that job really bring me happiness? Mm-hmm. No, it wasn't. Now I can go and get something I want. Okay, yeah, I'm going to be without work for a little bit, but I'll find something and I'll use that to supplement my dream, and I'll get my dream job now. Now it's realigned my thing. Or, it was an unhealthy job. I didn't like the boss. This is maybe a good thing. Maybe I was meant to leave this.
Yeah.
And I wasn't meant to sort of go in this direction,
I think we've got someone coming in to work it. Hello. Good morning. Well, I reckon do you want to come say hello on the podcast? Oh, we're literally just about to wrap up. Tazzy, come say hello. This is Kurt.
Hi, Kurt. How are you doing?
Tarragon.
Nice to meet you.
I'm the podcaster.
You're the podcaster?
Yeah, I'm a podcast.
Oh, you're wrapping up on the podcast.
Cubby. Yeah. This is it happening right now.
Happening right now. Okay,
yeah.
Well, there you go.
Cool. I'm gonna put these in a Medium article. Send me all the links you want me to include.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and talking. It's been absolutely awesome.
That's all right. No problem.
If you're up for it, I'd love to have you along some point in the future as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Definitely.
Are you happy with those 4 points? With
yeah. No, I think you've really narrowed that
Kurt's
down.
Wisdom for just, I don't know, success in life, I think. Cool. Anything else to add?
I don't think so. I think we've covered just about everything.
Covered a lot. Cool. All right. Farewell, everyone. Thank you.
All right, not a problem.
Cool. I'll see you Monday.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, the reason being, even though it's going to pick me up, is what I have been doing is like the preamble bit, a little bit of conversation before the conversation starts.
Right.
I record it and I put that right at the end.
Okay.
Sort of like a glimpse behind the scenes or something like that. You know
all right. Yep, cool. Nice. So what number podcast is this for you?
This is 8.
8? Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing it for now? It's been like...
Well, it's weekly.
Oh, it's weekly, okay.
Yeah, but I mean the first one I recorded in October last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had the idea for a while.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of sat on that for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, kicked it off. Several weeks ago. I have been a few weeks ahead.
Right.
I'm not now, so this will come out on Tuesday.
Okay. And where's your sort of posting platform for your...
If you just search for the Unfinished Cubby podcast, you'll find it.
Right.
Yeah, and it's on YouTube as well.
Okay, so you have a channel.
I mean, do you listen to podcasts?
Sort of.
Okay.
Sort of, not really.
Okay.
But like, I honestly, like, so if you're doing that, you just would like you search that through something like Spotify or...
Yeah.
So it would go on Spotify.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because it'd be cool to know that way I can share it out on my social media platforms and that sort of thing.
I'll send you the links.
Because I can post that and
awesome.
and see if I can get a few people because
cool.
You never know, a few extra listeners for you as well maybe. So
I'm up to 17 subscribers on YouTube. So
it's
still pretty small.
That's better than me. I've got a YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
I started a while ago. It was never, I think I had, to start with, I did, back in 2016, I did 2 workout videos, one with a mate who's a PT as well, and then another one was just myself. And then I vlogged my Melbourne trip when I went and competed at the Nationals. So I vlogged
recently, like last year.
That was 2019. That was the last time I competed. Was back in October.
That's not recently anymore, is it?
No, that was October 2019. So I did that, and then I've done like January 1st, 2020. I did 2020 push-ups. So I vlogged that for the day, sort of thing. I did an eating challenge with my my older brother's girlfriend, and that was probably the last video I did.
Yeah.
It was like it's fun doing it. I just wish I could employ a full-time editor to do it.
So that's why I do this really simple format too. Like I don't do anything. I've got my little intro sequence in there, and I'm pretty quick now.
Because like honestly, I'd spend like hours editing. And obviously, when you're doing YouTube stuff, you want to make like when you're doing videos.
Yeah.
If it's a workout video or if it's a funny vlog of some sort, then you want to have these cool little effects and things like that, and like parts where it might zoom in on one person, and then all these little funny like subtitles if you need it and whatever else. So intros, making intros, adding music, all that sort of stuff. I mean, I'm by no means a professional. I can't even DaVinci Resolve, I think. Is what I use?
Software you use?
Yeah.
Okay, I know. Excuse me 1 second, I'm just going to do milk.
You're right. Yeah, I think I got 6 or 7 subscribers.
Yeah, right, okay. Right.
So I never really tried hard to get subscribers though, because I just posted a couple of videos and was like, oh yeah, whatever of it. So I wasn't doing it to make money off YouTube.
Yeah.
And have however many thousand subscribers. But I think
I've never had any social media chops at all.
Yeah.
So
I used to care a lot more about that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I'm going to say when I was younger, but when I was a little bit younger, just like, it mattered to have X amount of followers on Instagram and that sort of thing. And like, you try and post things that trend or whatever. So then you put a shitload of hashtags. So then more people see it, more people want to follow you. And then you follow a whole bunch of people and then you unfollow them. So then you have, it's just, totally. Yeah. I mean, like, I still have Instagram. I still enjoy it, Like, it's as with anything, social media can have a great effect on people. There can be a lot of positive, but then you get, unfortunately, a lot of negative with it as well. So it just depends, obviously, what you want to focus on, I guess.